if I do.
Covino and Rich.
Are you ready? Honestly, how do I deal with you every day?
Get ready.
You heard all about it on the radio.
Get ready.
Whoa! Yeah!
Holy mother nugget! And holy mother meatball!
I'm the smartest man alive! You're so ridiculous. What? You're such a fool. Get out of here.
Oh, I'm a disc jockey.
What's a disc jockey?
Turn it up. We're doing the show.
Here we go. Covino and Rich.
Let's go!
Good day, good morning. Tuesday that we're going to make feel like a Friday. Why the hell not? Not just any Tuesday, Spot.
buddy?
A Tacos Locos Forever Tuesday. What's up, bro? How's it going? How's it in
up,
Queens?
bro?
Have you found your queen or what?
She's your queen to be. No, I have not found my queen. I already found her, so I'm good. But
She must be in the room.
I found an everything bagel from A&S Bagel is what I found.
Oh, anus bagels are the best, I hear. Anus bagels. Rich is in Queens, Spot and I on the West Coast, and we be rocking out. Let's go! Woo!
Let's go.
Let's go! Let's go! Happy penis to all.
Gabagool,
You know what I find funny?
gabagool,
What I find funny is that
gabagool,
I grew up in a town of guys
gabagool.
that were cut from a similar cloth to Steve Covino, right? But no one ever made the anus bagel joke. It really wasn't a thing. I don't know how, like, you know how, like, you meet someone, it's like, oh, your name's Jackie Winfield? Any relation to Dave Winfield? And she's like, huh?
It's the story I told you yesterday. But the story
Yeah.
was, and I misspoke yesterday, there's a guy that listens to our show named Bob Larson.
How did no one ever make that joke?
And I said to Bob, I said, related to Gary? He's like, who the fuck is that? I said, Gary Larson, the comic, The Far Side. That was the real story. He's like, never heard of him. I'm like, how old are you? 35. 35 years.
Any relation,
No
any
relation.
relation to Larson, the guy with a nail in his head in
Any
Happy
relation?
Gilmore?
Bob, any relation
Who
to
was that?
Yeah, never heard of it. So no one put the A-N-S together to make anus?
It's just like, it's the most popular little spot in my hometown. Not one person have I ever heard growing up be like, A&S Bagel. Anus Bagel? Not no one. It's like one of those things. I had, until you said it, I'd never heard someone even say it.
I mean, how could you not hear it? I can't even take credit for that. I think everybody probably heard that when you said
It's
it.
one of those things. Yeah, I'm going to A&S. You know, I don't know. It's and then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess no one really jumped on the anus joke back then.
Maybe we should make a T-shirt, Spot. Anus bagels. But instead of a hole in the bagel, it's just like a tight balloon knot right in the middle. And then put Rich Davis right underneath.
Anus bagels.
So it'll be a Rich Davis T-shirt available at shop.covino.com. Shop.covino.com. There you go. Having a hard time getting that out. Still getting warmed up. Still enjoying my first sip of coffee.
No and Rich? No and Rich? You're just shop.covino.com?
Shop.covino. Yeah. Told you I was having a hard time getting it out.
Yeah.
Oh. Shop.covinoandrich.com. There it is. New merch coming soon. Anus bagels. Rich's
Are
favorite.
you going solo? Shop.covino with all your, is it like a line of Vato wear that
Yeah.
I can't be involved in?
It's a full-on Vato line. You wouldn't know anything about it. So welcome to our show. Sports, entertainment, life, funny stories of Rich being back at home, enjoying his anus bagels. And
I have one already. I have
let's
one
get into
story where someone, like, just straight up, I got New Yorker yesterday. And, you know, for everything I love about the East Coast, you know, seeing old friends, seeing family, the whole deal. Once in a while, you're reminded, like, yo, people around here are like jerk-offs. Right? Like, there's a, like, you trade the fakeness of the West Coast for the realness of New York, but then sometimes you trade the politeness of LA for the rudeness.
but is it really polite if they're all full of shit anyway? But I hear you. I feel you.
I don't necessarily know if it's fake. Sometimes people are just more polite. That's, you know, you can't argue. Hold on one second. Spots. Am I using the right audio? Does my audio sound different to you today, Co?
Does that sound quiet to you?
Sounds like asshole. But I'm not mad at you.
Huh.
Sounds like anus bagels.
Oh, it's saying that like my mic levels are like way low. Hold on.
Okay, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I was trying to handle it like on the DL, but
What was that? I mean, do you think I could have a conversation while adjusting things?
no, I'm just saying.
I mean, when you're adjusting things, you miss whole conversations, and you know. Hold on, let's see. Let me see what's
Hey, what's up,
going on.
everyone? Anus,
what's cooking? What's the buzz?
anus. Oh, Richie, anus bagels.
Oh.
Check. Is that any better? Check. I turned
if
a
you're
little
fucking
louder.
Broadcasting from the VFW hall.
Turn it down a little bit. Turn it down a little bit.
If you're broadcasting from the shitter, stall number 3 at Sirius XM.
Are you sure your other microphone's on?
Hey, Dad, what's going on? Hey, pizza me. I don't know.
You sure your phone's muted?
Hey, oh. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Hey, shout out to Austin Arnold, who gets to take his babies home from the hospital today. Austin Arnold and the Arnold family. Congratulations.
I'm good. I'm not connected with the other thing. I'm connected with the microphone, but you're saying it sounds like ass. Is that any better?
No, it sounds terrible.
Well, now it's just room noise.
Yeah, no, it sounds like he's in a cave.
But the other one was very quiet.
Are you in the
Check. Do I want me to get closer to like the actual microphone? Is the poof getting in the way?
Your face is in disgust. It sounds stronger to me. You sounded very distant before.
It's like he's live from the pain cave. He sounded better before.
All right, so
Which was bad.
Turn it down a little bit.
All right.
Just a little.
Microphone levels down. Done. Okay. I don't know what you want me to do. Is it maybe a setting in Zoom
that
itself?
sounds good. That sounds okay.
Okay.
I mean, you're not gonna get. He's in a room. You're not gonna sound as good as us.
I wasn't complaining.
I was.
I was rolling.
It sounded like you were fucking in the other room to me. But that's just me. Welcome to the show.
I'm glad he's here. I personally don't give a terrible Terry Funk. It's all good. I wasn't going to stop you mid-story for that nonsense.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just letting him know.
So I got a case of straight up New Yorker yesterday. So, you know, when people come to New York, a lot of times they're like, yeah, people aren't as rude as I thought they would be. But then other times it's like, yo, you get the true New York experience. You ever see that Instagram clip where the guy's like, hey, I'm in Times Square. And someone's like, move the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. At that time, that guy was on the balcony. He was like, good morning, my neighbors. And I was,
Fuck you.
Remember that?
I pretty much got Clark Griswold yesterday, but I wasn't in Chicago. I was in Queens. I'm at a red light.
So you got Coming to America.
Getting off the Belt Parkway. It turns into the Cross Island. If you're from the East Coast, you know these shitty roads in Queens.
I don't like even hearing about him anymore, to be honest. When you said Throg's Neck Bridge yesterday, I felt like I wanted to jump off that bridge.
Sarah said it sounded like something a witch would put in a stew, in like a pot. She's like, Throg's Neck.
You know what it feels like? It feels
Eye
like,
of Newt.
It feels like ugly memories to me. Like, Throg's Neck Bridge? No thanks. I just picture being stuck on it somewhere.
There's a, I don't even know if it's a highway, a road called the Major Deegan spot. You know the Major Deegan?
I know the Major
The
Deegan.
only good thing about Major Deegan
It runs
is
by Yankee Stadium.
it's by Yankee Stadium, so it means I'm headed to the stadium. But that's about it.
80, That's what 87 is.
Otherwise, it means traffic and misery.
For our upstate New Yorkers, it's what 87 turns into.
Yep. It sucks.
80. The Major Deegan turns into 87.
Major
And
Deegan. I got a major.
It's on our
Deegan in my pants.
it's on our navigation, and Sarah's like, "All right, you're gonna veer off to the Maj de Gan." I'm like, "What the fuck is the Maj de Gan?" Because they abbreviate it MAJ, Major Deegan. I'm like, "What the fuck road is the Maj de Gan?" So, dude, every road around here, you're right. The sounds of them and everything, like the Bruckner, the this, the everything is a
It just
fucking
reminds
annoyance.
me of like my dad complaining about like where he's stuck or something.
Is it the van?
Yeah, I'm on the Kosciuszko Bridge.
Hey, Verrazano. Man. You know, just
Wait, where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the Kosciuszko Bridge, stuck on the BQE and the fucking Cross Bronx and the Buckner and the Major Deegan. Ugh.
honestly, it made me feel a little sick when you brought it up yesterday.
And I still don't know. Is it the Van Wyck or the Van Wyck? I don't know.
Van Wyck, man. Van Wyck
Yeah,
Expressway.
I'm on the Van Wyck to the RFK to the fucking GWB to the Lincoln Tunnel, Holland Tunnel, 1 and 9, 22, bing, bang, boom. Like, oh, dude, it's the fucking worst.
Barf.
Turnpike to the Parkway.
I merge onto the merge onto the Garden State Parkway. Take 1 and 9 Jersey Turnpike. Big bang boom.
We just call it the Parkway. We don't call it the Garden State Parkway.
It's all where Fat Tony Soprano's driving leads to.
Oh, when he gets.
It's in that area.
Oh, what you mean?
Because he's on the
Gabagool?
Jersey Turnpike. He's on the New Jersey Turnpike. No, he's on the New Jersey Parkway, isn't he? In that clip.
I hate everything.
He's on the Turnpike.
It's the Turnpike. He's on the New Jersey Turnpike in the intro, getting his gabagool, but he's coming from New York back to Jersey from all these shitty places that Rich talks of. Getting different types of gabagool. You picture him with a cigar in his Chevy Suburban. That Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
Those are the tolls at the Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah.
You take your ticket.
All these places that Rich is bringing up are the stinkiest of places, grimy and shitty.
Remember when he was in
so
the plane?
industrial looking, it sucks. Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's home and all, but
That's the Holland Tunnel.
That's
Or, I'm sorry, that's the Lincoln Tunnel.
Can I tell you
The
something?
Lincoln Tunnel. You come out of the Lincoln Tunnel.
I gotta tell you a funny story real quick. Is I know that Sarah's not listening now because she's in the other room. So we're driving down the Jersey Turnpike, getting our gabagool the other day, and I have my stomach's rumbling from all the East Coast food I've been eating, and I was like, I gotta fart in the car is what I gotta do. But we're near Giant Stadium. So I gave her the old, this is the stretch of highway, that usually smells. And then I fucking let one loose. She's like, oh my God, you're right.
It does. It smells like rotten eggs there.
Yeah. There's a stretch by Giant Stadium, by MetLife,
it's
by
Jimmy
by
Hoffa's body
Secaucus.
rotting underneath the stadium.
Yeah. It's a spot I knew you and Covino would appreciate the whole babe, this is the area, the stretch.
You know what
where
it is? It's
stinks.
Manny of Munaki's butthole. That's what it is. Because you're passing right through Munaki, New Jersey.
Yeah, it really does.
Oh.
It smells kind of funky up there. That's why
weakest.
when people say that New Jersey smells and it's like the armpit of America, that's what they're referring to. The rest of New Jersey
is a beautiful state. They get, you know what? It's like the New Jersey gets a bad reputation on a fucking half a mile stretch of smelly highway.
It's right where Tony Soprano is. It's
Jersey?
right there.
It's
right
like-
in that clip. That's where it smells the most.
New Jersey's like 20% beautiful shoreline.
Yeah.
Like 70%.
But it's all factory and everything.
Farmland.
And it's factory and swamp all
then
mixed in.
10. It's like 5 to 10% factory and swamp, and
Yeah.
that's what people judge us by.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's a major highway, so people pick up on it, and it gets that reputation. Rich is absolutely right and absolutely.
There's
it's absolutely
literally
true.
a stretch of highway where
Yeah.
you're like, yo, it smells like rotten eggs. So that's the perfect place to let one loose.
So she passed the COVID test.
I was like, man, sure does stink in this stretch. Oh, perfect timing. Taylor ham sandwich from 2 hours ago. So
Isn't it funny how I'm not trying to get gross or dumb down this conversation, but it really is interesting how the stank of your own farts really doesn't bother you, but the stank of someone else's is like the most putrid thing, most pungent thing that you've ever smelled. But yours, you're like Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
if you're
No, I've offended
if you're
myself
laying in bed by
recently.
yourself, if you're laying in bed by yourself, Covino, you'll Dutch oven yourself and be
Proud
like,
of it. You're a little proud of it. I'm not trying to get gross, but you're like, wow.
There's something going on in here.
There you go.
I don't know what I don't. Yeah, I'm not quite
Is
sure.
Tim Armstrong playing live in there?
Like something
Ruby
happened.
Soho.
Like I changed my diet and I started eating obviously much more protein and much cleaner. But something happened, and
Rancid.
I think I told you it timed perfectly with my testosterone treatments. There's something going on, something very aggressive in my bowels. My bowels are roid raging because ever since my gas has been the most rancid thing ever. Sometimes to where the point where I'm just like,
Yo, my gas is so rancid sometimes. Not trying to
one up you.
not trying to bring the show down.
Dumb this down.
We have an air filter in our bedroom, right? And the light is blue unless, of course, something sets it off and is like filtering out some sort of toxin or allergen. Then it turns orange.
Man, Jordan's like, oh my God, there's toxins in the room.
No, Jordan will be like,
You're boot up.
did you fart? And I'll look, and the fucking light is red on this thing, filtering out my nasty stank ass.
You
I'm like,
actually
nah.
have a pedometer.
Yeah, it picks it up. The filter turns red when I rip ass because it's filtering out the sharticles. I guess I don't know.
That shit. That is funny. Maybe it must be a combination for me of Taylor ham, bagels, and East Coast Italian food because I was like I could not hold back. But that wasn't my fucking story of welcome to New York.
But the point is, she's like, oh, gross, barf. Jersey stinks, and there's a part of you that's like, it's pretty good. Yeah, not bad. I can handle this.
Meadowlands, huh, babe?
Yeah, you're totally fine with your own stank.
That's a weird thought. You're right. So I'm getting off the BQE Bub Parkway, AO, and I hit a red light. Now, you guys might not know this because you're from Jersey, but there's no turn on red in New York City and the boroughs. But you could turn on red on Long Island and Jersey, right? When you hit a red light, no turn on red. Can't do it in the city. Are you guys aware of that or no?
Yeah.
It's actually depends. I know you can't do it in the city, but in the burbs, it depends on where you are.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll see a no turn on red
Right.
because you typically could turn on red.
Right. It's a sign posted.
Yeah. But in Manhattan and the boroughs, no turn on red is the rule.
Right.
So I'm getting off the Parkway, but I'm like the border of Queens, Long Island, but I'm still in Queens. I'm getting off in Queens Village.
You were gonna say the BQE, and that makes me want to barf too.
Oh. So literally waiting at this red light for 5 seconds. Meep, meep, meep. Like some jerk off behind me in a truck is honking at me.
You have to get some
And
Red Bull.
and my dad told me, he's like, oh, Richie, I got 7 tickets last year. I'm like, 7 tickets? He goes, yeah, because in Queens, they're murdering you with not only cameras, like they're all camera tickets. I'm like, did you fight these tickets? He goes, no, they're all like camera sent to your house. Like if you go over the speed limit by the school, if you go over 25, ticket. If you're going through red lights, turning on reds, ticket. He's like, yo, he says every month he gets a fucking ticket.
Yeah, and you see yourself like in the image, like cruising by. Yeah, I've gotten a ton of those. I don't miss that shit at all. You're just getting some gabagool.
I was just getting gabagool. What's the matter?
Heading to Scooby Doo.
I wonder if people realize that is the major highway in the intro that I took that we all took every day to get in and out of the city.
Gabagool.
Drop my phone.
So
You're like,
I don't react to this person honking because I'm like, yo, dude, like, I give him a little, like, what do you want me to do? But not confrontational. Like, what do you want, dude? It's red. No turn on red. We're in Queens. So we make a quick right, and then we both get to yet another red light right away. So this person's next to me, completely parallel. It's a young black dude in like an Amazon delivery truck. And I give him the whole, like, roll down your window. I give him the roll down your window. He rolls down his window. I go, yeah, my man, sorry. We're in Queens. I just didn't think you could turn on red. Not confrontational. I'm talking like, I was being friendly. Like, yo, I want to tell you why I didn't turn. I didn't turn because we're in Queens and I didn't think you could turn on red. He says to me, don't open your fucking mouth. If you don't know the rules, then you shut the fuck up, motherfucker. And I'm like, well, dude. I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to fight. I'm just telling you. And then he goes, yo, you don't know shit, motherfucker. And he pulls away.
Sounds about right.
And I'm like, is that like normal behavior?
I missed that.
Yeah,
It is.
sounds about right.
You know,
Is that like normal New Yorker,
Oh.
New Jersey jerk off behavior?
Oh, you've gotten soft.
Yeah,
What's
bro.
happened?
Yo, hop in the car with my dad for like a minute. Like, hey, fuck you, kiss off. Hey, oh. He's so mad about shit, bro. It's the worst.
Yo, but like
what
I was
happens.
spot. Like
You lost it. You've lost
I
your
was
edge.
like, not that I was trying to de-escalate, but I was trying to just be like, oh, dude.
De-escalate. What a West Coast
Just
fucking
say,
puto
just
thing you
say
just said.
I'm Rich Davis and I've lost my edge.
Oh, no.
I'm Rich Davis and I've lost my New York edge.
Roll down.
You even did the roll down sign.
Roll down.
You didn't do this.
Sorry.
You did the roll down sign.
So,
I forgot the wolf.
yeah,
I'm
Sarah looked at me.
visiting.
And by the way,
Fuck
I was with
visiting
I was
from
with
the East
Sarah
Coast,
and
West Coast.
the 2 kids. I wasn't by myself. And Sarah looked at me like, what the fuck? Is this like New York behavior? I'm like, babe, this is pretty New York behavior. I just hadn't experienced it in a while. Yo, when I tell you, Sarah's first thing was, but babe, you were like sweet and non-confrontational. I'm like, yo, you think that matters? My first, Covino, to repeat what I said.
Fuck your mama.
Yo,
Thank you very much.
my guy, my dude. Yo, hey, I just want to let you know the reason I didn't turn was because I didn't think you could turn on red in Queens, like giving him a, hey, here's why I didn't respond to your honking. The opposite of confrontational. I was like, yo, my man, I didn't turn because it was red and we're in Queens, right? I didn't want to fuck your mama, essentially. And I'm like,
he had his music on. He just heard, I'm just a happy honky. Fuck your mama. Yo, I'm having trouble honking.
He told me to shut my mouth or don't open my mouth multiple times. I was like,
I'm not surprised at all. One of my first memories, Rich, I have plenty of memories of my dad cursing people out and all that shit.
I'm just curious if Sarah, I almost want to see if Sarah feels like I'm exaggerating this. Sarah.
I remember me and my dad driving down a really sketchy street one time, and it looked like we were interrupting some sort of drug deal, right? In the middle of a stickball game. I don't know. Well, I'll wait to tell my story as Sarah comes.
Here, get closer to my... Am I exaggerating? The dude in the truck that yelled at me getting off the highway?
Oh my God, no. It was like on a scale of 1 to 10. I was like, wait, is he yelling because we can't hear him? Oh no, he's like, we're talking bulging eyes.
Oh yeah, Sarah said his eyes bulged and there was veins in his neck, and he's like, yo, shut up, motherfucker.
It was intense, and I was like, oh crap. It was
shucks.
Yeah, it was, no, he is not exaggerating at all.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
Why are you trying to, this is a weird move by you anyway. Like, why are you trying to explain yourself to some fucking rowdy New Yorker?
I'll tell you why. Because he was me. And then when we turned, we literally got to the same traffic light 50 feet. Because you know,
I wouldn't. Would you have done that? I really wouldn't have done this.
No, I picture, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you make a right and then you immediately hit another one.
I get it, but how are you trying to?
He's here.
Why are you trying to make friends
here.
with this
I'm
guy?
here. I'm not trying to be friends. I'm just trying to be like, yo, dude, you were just honking. Like, I'm just letting you know in a friendly way. Yo, my man, I didn't turn because I didn't think you could make a right on red in Queens.
I know you're trying to be a nice guy.
Fuck your mama. Shut your mouth.
I think you're
shut your mouth.
Pardon me. I wonder if you could tell me how to get back on the expressway.
Fuck your mama.
Thank you very much.
That's exactly it.
That's right there.
I'm not saying Rich is wrong.
I was just wondering if I could turn on red.
But he's reading the room terribly. You're a guy that talks about reading the room all the time. Spot, would you have done this at that point?
What I would have done would have been some sort of gesture, probably a middle finger, because I still have my New York edge. It's okay, Rich.
Yeah.
I'm Rich
so
Davis. Do you know how many times I've dropped a finger in LA? Oh, it feels great. It feels really good. You've lost your New York edge. That's okay. Like I've tried to maintain my New York edge on the roads
just give him
here.
one of like you pull up and you're
like, you do this. You do that. What's the matter of you?
Why are you trying to fucking make friends with this guy?
Do this.
Roll down the window.
Do a little chin flick.
He thought you were going to
Chin
say,
flick, Rich.
I think you got what you deserved a little bit, knowing where you were and the scenario.
Oh, shucks, mister. Hey, I just didn't know.
It's me.
My dad told me that I couldn't turn on red.
Pop 2K.
Shucks,
my dad or the law since I was a kid.
Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, you weren't
Like,
wrong, technically or anything.
Covino, I grew up in the New York area where I was constantly by the border of Queens and Long Island because that's sort of where I live. So you would know that, if you went into Queens, don't get a bullshit ticket by turning on red. So I was like, well, I'm not going to get a bullshit ticket, especially when I'm not in my car.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess I got what I deserved, being that I forgot I was in New York. However, this is not the first time I got dissed in a while. Sarah had reminded me. We were in Texas going through a coffee drive-thru, and apparently I didn't realize I had cut off these two girls that were waiting also by the coffee line. And they were like 16, 17, driving for the first time. And they're like, fuck you, mister. Fuck you. And Sarah's like, yo, these like teenage girls are totally dissing you. I'm like, what? And I turn around and these teenage girls are like, fuck you, like old guy.
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't miss that at all. I don't miss that either. But, hearing your story is a little refreshing.
You know what I say? Rich
like you got what you deserve.
Rich is weak.
Yeah, I
Rich
tell
is
you what,
trying
man.
to be friends with some fucking guy honking at him.
Rich is weak.
Be a Rich.
Hey,
Don't
Rich.
be a Rich.
Hey,
Don't-
bud.
don't be a
Hey, you
Rich.
want to get a drink later? Fuck your mama.
Be a Rich. Try and de-escalate an angry New Yorker. Be a Rich.
Yeah. What? I'm just
I just-
de-escalating. Fuck y'all de-escalating. What do you mean de-escalating?
Stevie, you seem angry. Have you tried like meditation? Oh, you know what I do?
De-escalate
I just
my
try dipping
dick.
Maybe you should try take a dip in the pool. That'll calm me down.
Practicing my West Coast techniques of
Take a dip in the pool or maybe skim it. That'll help you calm down.
Calm down. It's what we do in Los Angeles.
You ever think of some gardening?
Oh my God. Yo,
Yeah,
I think you got what you
that's
deserve.
that. My
Especially,
day
like,
was.
he's thinking you have something important. Like roll my window down. Are you fucking serious for that? For your
I mean,
explanation?
it's really just a button. It's a button on his like next to his door.
I
It's
know
not like
that,
he's
but I'm
old school.
not-
It's not like he had to lean over and do a crank.
I think that's where you went wrong, to be honest. Like, all right, what do you got to tell me? You probably interrupted his flow. He was listening to some fucking Biggie Smalls.
No, it's
It
just-
was all the dream. I used to read Word Up, man. He's looking at you.
Excuse me, mister.
Yeah, he missed the fucking Marley Marple. Yeah, there it is. Well, I think you got what you deserved. I really do. I really do. I mean, I'm sad for you that people are
I'm not
mean and
sad.
aggressive, but
I just thought it was funny, and
I'm sad that you've lost a piece of yourself.
I guess I have. I
think that
we
is
also
it.
went
I think
to.
you're right, Spy. He lost his edge.
You lost your
We
edge.
went to.
Remember
And by
when
the way, we
Jeter
went
lost
to
his
the.
edge? Remember when Jeter lost his edge?
Yeah.
You lost your edge.
I lost my edge.
By the way, Jeter lost his edge was a national campaign where Jeter lost his edge and he was all sad about it, and then he got a Ford Edge because he was the spokesman. Oh, Jeter lost his edge. Rich lost his edge.
It's like that song, that Baz Luhrmann thing where it says, live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in California once, but leave before it makes you soft. It happened.
Neil Diamond.
You gotta leave. You gotta head. You gotta go.
Neil Diamond said it best also. LA's fine, but it ain't home. New York's home, but it ain't mine no more.
Yeah, everybody's confused as to why engage this scenario and justify yourself. Who cares?
Because because
doesn't matter. You
were
rolled
at
up to him. That's when you give him the or the fucking mind your business.
The
You don't try
chin
to
flick, Rich.
Hey,
the
man, I
chin
don't-
flick.
I just don't even.
Did
get
you
it.
forget your gestures too? Come on.
Yeah,
What
but I was
the
like,
other one, Spy?
I just want to be like, yo, because he was sitting there and I was like, yo,
Gabagool.
I wanted to explain to him, there's a reason why I did what I did.
You can do this.
My dad was big on that, bro. My dad cursed off he still does, man. I'm like, yo, you're too old for that. Looks like Kenny Rogers, as people say now, like cursing off people. It's like, yo, man, like chill. You're old. What are you so mad about?
Yeah, relax. I feel like this guy was really mad for no real reason. But then again, what are you gonna do? I also realized that when you go to a Target, when you go to a Target in like not a nice area, they like lock up everything. Do you realize that?
Yeah, of course. And by the way, people are bemuffled. Alex Efforts is like, let me explain myself. Please, come on, bro. Like, you're way off in this scenario. The guy was rude to you, no question, but like, you stopped him to tell him that shit. Like he don't give a fuck. He just knows.
We were 20 feet away from we were 20 feet away from each other, sitting at a red light.
Fucking beat it.
Man, fuck you, cut me off.
How dare you fucking cut me off. Fucking son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Who the fuck you think you are?
How dare you try to have a reasonable explanation or conversation?
And kiss off.
There's a lot of kiss offs.
But yeah, no, Sarah. I thought Sarah was running into Target for 5 minutes. There's a Target in like a shady part of the neighborhood around here, and she's like, everything is locked up. And she's like, yeah, this is. She's like, last time I went to this Target, security stopped a guy from running out with a TV in his arms. I'm like, what? So. Is that not? Do you find that to be an annoying thing? Like when everything's locked up in the store, Sarah's like every little item she got was behind like a case. It's like, is that where we're at right now? People just running out with shit.
I mean, people suck. I can't believe you're surprised by this. People stink at an all-time high. There was kids licking ice creams at the supermarket. Remember that?
Let me tell you about neighborhoods.
People are terrible.
Even around here, our Ralph's, which is beautiful and fancy. There's a Ralph's that's like 5 minutes down the road, the supermarket. We stopped in there because we were driving by to pick up some high noons, which are those seltzers.
Yeah, I'm sold.
But they're a little bit.
Your wife loves those.
She loves those.
They're really
but they're
good.
a
She's
little
right.
bit fancier than the White Claws because they're like made with vodka, and they're a little bit more expensive. And
They're less seltzer-like, more mixed
like
drink-like.
Yeah,
right?
they're like vodka and seltzer. You know, like vodka with bubbles. And we were looking for them in the case. We couldn't find them. We're like, where the fuck are these things? I'm like, I guess they're out. And we were leaving, and in the front there is a huge locked case of all the fancy or all the regular alcohol actually, and inside that was the High Noon. So it's just
fucking dirtbag thieves.
It's just it's hood. It's your neighborhood. When you have these places that are in not so nice
Thievery.
areas, yeah.
I bet you if you turned the corner, you saw like the Hood Olympics going on and a bunch of people trying to get up those crates for money.
By the way, it didn't stop yesterday. I feel like I saw 20 more milk crate challenges.
Oh, I got a whole montage of recent fails if you want to see them later. But yeah, so far, this all is one big story of Rich lost his edge. Yeah, he's shocked by the fact that things are locked up. He's trying to engage with a dude whose time he's wasting at this point. This guy just knows, you're slowing me down, motherfucker, and now you want to talk about shit? Fuck out of here. And, you know, it's welcome back to the East Coast for sure.
Roll down your window. Heidi ho, friend. I just want to explain what went down back there.
I was going to tell you, like, one of my first memories of this. Like, I always imagine my dad cursing in traffic, for sure, right? I drove a lot with my dad. And these were the days of it didn't matter. There was no safety rules or regulations. He probably would have got a ticket had he saw. Like, my dad drove around in a van, like a Ram van, right? And there's only the driver's seat and the passenger seat. I was always like in the middle. My dad had a wicker chair, or like a fold-up chair in the middle. I'm like, oh, there was no fucking, or I was sitting on the floor while he's listening to Howard Stern or whatever was on the radio at the time. You know,
your dad's driving around and your seatbelt is his arm in case shit went wrong.
Shitty 80s pop, because usually we're like driving my grandma somewhere or something like that. So I never got the fucking passenger seat. I was in the most illegal seat possible. And I remember one time I see
I have a 4-year-old in a milk crate. You think that's okay, sir?
For sure. No, I'm sitting on a stack of soda cans. I'm sitting on like a box of Dipsy Doodles in the back, right? So and for real, dude, when I tell you I sat on soda cans always, like I had permanent rings in my ass from like circle imprints on my ass from sitting on the Canada Dry. But I remember my dad going down this sketchy street, and it looked like he was interrupting a gathering of sorts. I don't know. And it was all sorts of sketchy, shady-looking people. And he's driving slow because they're not really fucking moving out of the way. No one's sort of getting out of the way. And I'm just a little kid. And they all go, man, fuck you, right, to my dad. And my dad, hey, fuck you. And I'm like, oh, man, as a kid, it's like the scariest feeling ever. And they were like mean mugging him, dude, like really mean mugging him. And he was forced to go slow because, again, no one was really moving out of the way. And I remember them like, fuck you, douchebag. And I remember going to my dad, what's a douchebag? I had never heard that before. I only bring that up because that's how old the story is. I had never even heard that. Was the first time I had ever heard that. And my dad
hey, fuck you. Hey, how dare you fucking say that? Fuck you, douchebag.
Kiss off.
Kiss off.
Man, fuck you and your little Chinese kid.
Yeah, beat it.
Yeah, he's Mexican, but go fuck yourself.
Yeah, fuck you. He's my little worker.
Yeah, fuck you and your little
Beat
worker.
off. Piss off. Kiss off.
Yo, and I was just sitting there and like a little pumpkin pie haircutted foreign boy. And my dad was, he was so like getting back at them, but just not in a way that anyone was going to engage. He just read the temperature. Like, you just have to give it back. You're not trying to be friends with them. Fuck that. Oh, and I remember what my dad said too. I'm like, what's a douchebag? After I probably shit my pants. He's like, yeah, it's like a scumbag. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's like a scumbag. Hey,
okay.
I remember
and then I looked at my dad like this. And he looked at me like,
yeah, it's a fucking scumbag.
Like a scumbag.
It's like a scumbag.
Fucking scumbag.
Yeah, fucking
Hey,
scumbags.
oh,
hey.
And then we drove away.
Sit back down on those kids.
But again, yeah. Get out of here. Get away, kid. You bother me. And I'm like, okay, fuck, back to the Dipsy Doodles.
I remember the scariest road.
So bad.
The scariest road we have ever driven down, and I can guarantee it's worse than anything you've ever experienced in Newark or New York or wherever you were. When we were on one of our road trips, Spot took a wrong turn, and I think we were about to drive into like a gang meeting in downtown St. Louis, like under the arch at night.
Well, because I was like, oh, we drove. There's the main road that you can see. You have a nice view of the St. Louis Arch. Then I'm like, I think we can get closer. I'm like, I'm gonna go down this road and see where we can get like right underneath it and take a cool photo or do a cool video.
Spot took all these back roads, and
that was a mistake.
I remember being like, "Yeah, I don't think we should go down this road." And Spot's like, "I don't know. Let's keep rolling and
roll them up."
I felt like there was about to be like back and forth gang gunfire, and Spot was just gonna drive right through it.
Just like back up.
By the way, for the people not watching on Tier 2, I want you to know when we were doing my dad's impression, Spot pulled up a picture and pulled out an old school Conan O'Brien feature.
Is that okay?
Where his mouth was superimposed on my dad's mouth. And that shit was great. So
it's so bad.
But it's so bad that it was great. More reason to subscribe to Tier 2 for our low budget Conan O'Brien year 2000 production.
I just did that on the fly.
No, that shit was funny.
I have to figure out how to like actually like circle my mouth.
No, but we really dove into my dad's Kiss Off stuff even more so because of that new feature. So there you go. If you're not watching, you're missing out. Yeah, from the year 1990.
It's a new feature. Yeah, a new Patreon feature.
Bob Dole. When Conan used to do Bob Dole. Bob Dole.
I'm Bob Dole.
It's an old Conan O'Brien feature.
Hey, it's me, Big Steve. Kiss off. Beat it. Hey.
You know what's funny, Rich? Speaking of my dad, and not to get off tangent because I want to hear about your dad like right now, but I wrote down all these things on this notepad, like, and I have no idea why I wrote them down. But I wrote like these dad expressions, and I wanted to know if they were universal. So in transition to hear about the rest of your day, your dad say beats me. Beats me. Is that universally like a beats me? Is that a dad?
No, but that's that's like that is an older person phrase. I like that. Beats me.
Right.
These
like,
are good. Okay.
Because a young person doesn't say beats me, but they know what it means, right? Beats me. I don't know. I don't even know where that derives from. Beats me. Like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm gonna beat you until you know. How does that come to be? I don't know. Beats me. I don't know what that means, but we know what it means.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Dad. What's a douchebag? Beats me like a scumbag. Okay.
Yeah, beats me. Hey. Yeah, beats me.
Yo, tell me that's not an old school expression, dude. I don't think any young person is saying beats me. How about this? Hey, what's the buzz? Because my dad, I was thinking about how I use a lot of slang. I don't think my dad used a lot of slang growing up, but he used a lot of old guy terms, and I guess that's the slang of the day. Hey, what's the buzz? What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Hey, what's the buzz?
What's the buzz?
What's the buzz?
I don't want to play this out, but this is fun.
This is so. No, this is say write it out today. Yeah, what's the buzz?
Buzz?
I had all these things written down ahead of schedule. Just I don't know. I guess it was on my mind. Sometimes I go ahead of my notes and I write shit down for like, oh, maybe I'll bring this up on a Thursday or Wednesday to throw it back a little bit. Since we're talking about this sort of shit, I'll bring it up. What's the buzz? Hey, what's the buzz? That's what Rich tried to do the current day. Mister, what's the buzz? All right. Hey, what's cooking? I always say that. That's a total dad thing, right or wrong?
What's cooking? It's a good one.
What's cooking? And to wrap it up, kiss off, like we've said 1,000 times already.
Kiss off.
Kiss off. Those are my dad's favorite expressions till this day, still.
Your dad is totally cut from that jersey cloth, which is what I love.
Hey, we're going to rock and roll. Rocking and rolling for sure. Dads love to rock and roll. But I want to hear about your dad, and here's why. There's a backstory, and you're going to deny it, but I know it, and you're going to have to explain further. Your dad has a sense, your dad's pride of you and this show is second to none. So let's get that out of the way. That's understood. We know that. Your dad has an immense pride and love of you and your career and what we do. He's very proud, so proud he plays our Tickle Sack songs during the holidays for other family members, right? So let's
Dad, stop playing Feliz Navidad.
But your dad
you're with your wife's work friends.
But your dad also has like a funny pride of his like step nephew or whatever. Who's Roma? Which I always found funny because we make it out to be funny because we say you're jealous.
Roma is
you're
his wife's nephew in Belarus. Which, by the way, sad fact. He was supposed to come here for a month, but because of the way the world is, not COVID, but just because of relations with Russia and certain things, he can't get the proper paperwork to come here. He was supposed to stay with Greg for a month and he couldn't do it. They won't allow him here.
The backstory is he would talk about his times with Roma so much, Rich would notice it. And we would be like, oh, look at Rich is jealous of I got to tell you, took Roma playing miniature golf. And Rich was like, why do you take me to play miniature golf? Just became an ongoing joke. Oh, Roma's getting really big. Oh, you should see Roma's getting really handsome. And we used to joke. At him. Yeah, Rich didn't like the Roma stories, and we used to joke about that because Rich's dad speaks in a sense of pride when it comes to a lot of certain things. It's Rich's dad's way, right? And Rich has a stepsister who's married to a very like world-renowned opera star, one of the like Irish tenors or something like that, right?
Well, yeah, it's in their family. Like my stepsister is married to a guy who's very successful, but his sister's married to like a famous Canadian singer. So that whole side of the family is the type that at Christmas, like the dad, the sister, everyone breaks out the guitar and they all sing around the fire, but they're all like professional singers.
Right. And your dad is blown away by it, all the time. I got to hang out with what's the name of the family again, though? Doesn't he have a name? I got to hang out with the.
I don't want to throw him out there, but I bet we call him the Rougeaus.
Let me tell you, Richie, got to hang out with the Rougeaus. And then Rich has to sit through this story. Let me tell you, it's beautiful.
By the way, they're like the nicest people, but it's remember in True Blood, my dad is like glamored by them.
Right. Perfect. Right. But your dad is also glamored by his stepdaughter-in-law's whole side of the family and scenario, to the point where at the end of our show yesterday, he even sort of said, tonight we're going to the house.
Oh, yeah.
Richie agreed, and he's going to see a mansion, a real mansion that they live in.
Tonight we're going to the mansion.
The mansion. Hey, you can see how far your money goes. Your mansion. No, but it was. I need to follow up because at the end of yesterday's show, I wish Spot can. There's no way you can pull it up,
Richie,
right?
I'm showing him the mansion. It's so impressive. I know you just got a nice house in L.A., but the mansion by the water
blows that house away.
It blows your house away.
Mansion, and he said this on the air yesterday. Like Richie agreed. Wait till he sees the mansion, right? So I want to know. I gotta hear. Maybe there's no story there, but. Tell me about the mansion and tell me. Yeah, please tell me and the sense of glamorness that your dad was succumbed to. I want to hear about that.
I mean, it's up in Salem, which, by the way, I don't know how far that is away from where you used to live, Spot. I feel like we drove an hour north, but I know you used to live in that direction, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't too far outside the city. Which direction is it? Let me see. So you drove into like Westchester?
Look up where Salem is, because frankly, I didn't know where it was. I've heard of it, but it's odd because, like you were saying, my dad is very glamored by their beautiful home and success and everything. But I did not know where Salem was. But Salem is
Stewart's. It's Salem's outside of Saratoga?
Oh, it's beautiful. Richie, I'm very proud of you. But
Rich, you were outside Saratoga Springs?
Is that I mean, we drove an hour it took an hour and 4 minutes. So
so then no, you were definitely it wasn't that far.
Yeah, it was an hour. It was like an hour north. Oh wait, he's in here. Greg's in here now.
I saw. So if it's awkward blink twice. That's fine. But I got to hear it because I love the passion that comes from your dad's voice.
North Salem is the tip of Westchester County.
Oh, I hear you talking about.
Oh, Northtown. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You can Spot, you can talk he can talk, or you can talk using his picture in your mouth. But it was it's a beautiful area. But
Sorry.
But you know what it does though? It makes you wonder, would you ever want to live in the middle of nowhere, but essentially in a mansion in the middle of nowhere? Is that your style at all? Like, would you want to do that? Because you start thinking like, oh, would I want to live in a place like this? Like it's you know, when something's like you would say it's an awful lot of house. So you're talking about like, if you have a lot of house, think of what goes with that. A lot of cleaning, a lot of maintenance. You're talking about, let's say it's 10,000 square feet. That's a lot to maintain.
Sounds like a mansion to me. Yeah.
Right? If it's like, and you forget sometimes that when you live on the East Coast, what's the matter, Spot?
No, we have it. If you missed the end of yesterday's show, you could see the pride and the sort of like little subtle jabs your dad's giving you because he's so impressed by the Rougeaus and that side of the family and everything.
Oh, the Rougeaus.
Oh, this chair, I love it.
Any
My chair.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Just to keep you in the loop, tonight I convinced Richie and Sarah with the kids to come with us to see my wife's daughter and a husband, and they live in like an hour from here in North Salem. David Letterman lives there, right down 1,000 feet away from their house, the mansion they just bought. Richard Gere lives right there.
And his gerbil.
Bill Gates' daughter lives across the street. And when Rich sees this mansion, he's going to go, boy, I love what I have in California, but wow. I'm just saying. This is going to be
let me tell you.
amazing.
You know what doesn't impress
you know, Dad. Yeah. You cut him off, bro.
The nice about the mansion, Dad.
Okay.
Like, he just, he gets in his dream is for us to move back here, But yeah, no, it's
the mansion.
I wish there was a better story, Covino. It just they have a beautiful house, but it really comes down to
you. It's something that you don't see for yourself, is what you're saying.
I'm impressed by like, oh, it's a beautiful house, but like I would never want to live there.
Right,
like it's far from Manhattan. It's a beautiful area, but like, the maintenance alone would give me anxiety. Like it's 3 floors, like the basement, the first floor, the second floor, the attic. They have a gym that's like the size of a legit gym. It's a huge place.
Yeah, but they live next to David Letterman. You live next to the Lovejoys.
Yeah, that
is true.
They live 1,000 feet from Richard Gere. You live 1,000 feet from Lantanas.
Yeah, exactly.
Lantana bushes.
Yeah, I just wish I wish there was a better story for you guys, but no, it was a great night. We had their kids were great with Emmy, and Emmy didn't want to leave because they were just having so much fun. That's another thing when your kid doesn't want to leave somewhere and you're like, oh, we gotta go, and they're like, no, and you're like, we're gonna go.
Why would you want to leave the mansion?
Well, the thing is you're a little torn inside. You see, Richie, she wants a mansion. That's why she's crying. The thing is, they're misbehaving at that point, but they're misbehaving like for a good reason because they were having fun.
Yeah.
So there's not, you can't really reprimand them, but then sometimes it gets out of control. But it's like, yeah, because they love it here so much.
Well, I don't want to go.
Right,
So we gotta go.
Yeah, and they start freaking out, and it's the worst feeling. But it's sort of like you justify it because you're like, they were having so much fun. Sorry, Charlie Murphy. Yeah, well.
Oh, you know what? I did get one takeaway. Like I said, I wish there was a bigger story, but it's also
looking
like
for a story. I just think it's
I'm saying like I also don't want to. I also don't want to shit on anything and insult anybody or necessarily talk about details. Does that make sense? You guys cut out?
No, we're waiting.
We're on the edge of our seats.
Oh no, but I'm saying like you don't want
anything. The whole funny part of it is how your dad, Spot and I joke that you get jealous when your dad shows.
Oh no, I don't.
For that.
The mansion.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, Dad. I'm doing okay too,
You gotta try the mansion.
Yeah, well, I just redid my whole place in
But
LA.
Richie, I know the mansion.
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
the
you're doing
joke.
much better.
That's the joke. That you get a little, you don't like to hear about it.
Oh no, I don't mind hearing about it. I'm just it's just it's a funny feeling for me to see, I guess, my dad so impressed by their world. I don't know what you want me to say.
You don't have to say anything.
Oh, yeah.
We already joked about it. It's just funny to us.
But yeah, I guess I had one takeaway was they bought this place and the previous owner left everything. Like, from what I understood, they went through a bad divorce and they kept lowering the price to the point where it was like completely unaffordable. And then they were able to like swing it. And it's like, probably out of their price range, but because of this bad divorce, these people just wanted to unload the house and they got a great deal. But part of the great deal was the previous owner left the house furnished. And I was like, yo, that is like the greatest bonus of all time. Like, until you have to furnish an empty house, you don't realize how every little end table, every little curtain, every little thing adds up to the point where you're talking tens of thousands of dollars easily just to furnish a couple rooms, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to get a mansion to even have this conversation for the most part. Because when you see guys like, I don't know, Derek Jeter selling his home, he's not selling his home and taking all his stuff. A lot of that is customized furniture for that house. It comes with the furniture at X amount of dollars.
That's why I like Rocky Balboa. Like, remember Rocky's house was for sale and you're like, how is no one buying it? Because Rocky's not taking his
not Rocky,
couches and furniture.
Because I'm picturing Rocky and Rocky 4. Sylvester Stallone is really selling his house, his home. And we were looking in all the gaudy looking rooms, and you have to imagine a place like that comes that way.
I think there comes a level that, we're not at, but I think there comes a level where people sort of sell their houses as is, and they're not just taking shit with them. Like, they just move and start over, or they inherit the other people's things. Because you're like, if someone has a gaming room with a pool table and special chairs and decorations, they're not emptying out that room, Covino. They're probably being like, that comes with it.
Yeah, most likely.
And as you got your place, you realize how annoying it is to just furnish every little thing. Like, a bathroom in itself is like, all right, we got to get all this shit for the bathroom. So imagine if every room was furnished. Sort of sweet.
You know what the guy in New Jersey left for me? When I bought my house in New Jersey. The colors. You like the colors. You love the colors. I love the colors.
He was so sad when you painted.
I leave you the colors. Yeah. It's an old story. He left his Calypso beat, his very Calypso-like colors on the wall. Unfurnished, because I've never been at the status of ever purchasing a home where they left the furniture. Now, I sold my place out of desperation and left a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
That I've done that, but it wasn't like, it comes this way. It's just I wasn't moving it at that point.
Now, I don't know where you want to go, if you have any other stories or you have any news you wanted to get to, but there was a story I saw this morning that made me wonder a few things. Did you see who's getting divorced?
Yeah, the Currys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have two thoughts. Not Steph Curry's spot, Del Curry, his dad, who played in the NBA from 1986 until 2002. So his dad put him in the league way longer than I remembered. But then again, I'm like, Del Curry was always around.
Yeah. Our buddy E.J. Reed. What's up, E.J. Reed? It stands for Ernie Johnson Reed. Ernie
Oh, I thought it stood for Enormous Johnson Reed.
Enormous Johnson Reed. Even
I always
better.
thought that's what it stood for. No,
Oh, yes, it is. I don't know what this is.
isn't he like, yo, EJ Reed, nice to meet you, Enormous Jammy?
Enormous Jammy Reed.
No.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Oh, you just connected the dots? I've
He
known that for years.
says that all kinds of riffraff are going to be in his mom's DMs now, which is so
Yeah.
awkward for Steph and Seth Curry to
Well,
know
no,
that his
I just-
attractive and very rich mom is going to have dudes their age probably trying to dive into their mom's DMs.
I was thinking, I mean, that's a layer I didn't even.
And who's the next
think of yet.
Stedman? Who's the next Stedman in her life?
No, I that wasn't even my thought, Covino.
How
My
can it
thought
not be?
was
You want to deal? They're young men now. They got to deal with like who their mom's dating. They're young, successful men.
I know that's a layer that you're absolutely right that I didn't even think about. My first thought was,
But I thought
you're married for 33 years. You made it through his playing career. You made it through having 4 grandkids. Like at that stage of the game, for Del Curry and his wife to get divorced, like did something have to happen, or you think it could simply be we raised our kids. We're at a certain point in our life. That's Steph Curry's spot.
No.
And his mama. Oh yeah, I thought you were showing Del.
No,
but
I'm
yeah,
showing
Del.
the mother.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I know Spot doesn't like sports, but I'm pretty sure
Come
he
on,
knows
bro.
who Steph Curry is.
Come on.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I mean, my mom knows
I'm
who Steph
thinking,
Curry is.
like
Showing
Covino,
the mother.
How long have your parents been married?
Too long.
Aren't they?
40
Didn't they celebrate 40-something years?
45 years.
45 years. They were married and then had you, or the vice versa. So your parents have been married even a decade more than the Currys.
Your mom can get
So
it.
ask yourself this: what would have to happen for your parents to get divorced after fucking 40-something years of marriage? Like, I don't even think at that point I don't even think infidelity that nothing could after that long. I think it would have to be like, yo, I just hate you. And I've dealt with you for too long, like 40 years. We got kids in the NBA. We got 4 grandkids. Is it sort of the revelation of I still got 20, 30, 40 years left and I don't want them to be with you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm still, I got enough life left in me where
to know it's not with you.
Yeah, I'd want to be happy for the rest of it. I'm sure that's definitely what it has to come down to.
Does one of them have to have someone on standby to even pull the trigger on this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, but they don't have to.
Oh, my dad wants to say something for a minute. Hold on.
Oh, okay, great.
He's over here. Yeah.
Let's welcome the real
Yeah.
Greg, Rich's dad, not the terrible impression.
Hi guys, how you
Hey,
doing?
what's
How's
up,
everyone?
Greg?
One second.
What's up, Greg?
Hello.
What's up?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Doing good. We miss Rich. We miss you. But we're hanging in.
I miss you guys, but I'll be seeing you in February. I decided that I want Rich to have that place totally with the studio and everything 100% before I get there. And February seems to be the good time. So I'll be seeing you guys then. But just back to the mansion. The one thing I no way would ever. I told my wife, I don't care what she thinks. I says, I would never want to live there if I had 2 kids, 4 kids. I go there and I lose my wife in the house. It's 4 levels. I got to call her on the phone and say, where are you in the house?
Oh my God.
It's crazy. But the best is Spot would appreciate, and you too, Steve. The top floor is like a huge room. The equipment, it's like one of the places you go, the workout places. They have thousands of pounds of machinery, a Peloton.
Oh, wow.
That was all left.
Home
That's
gym,
awesome.
huh?
No, that's
all
incredible.
left. The Peloton Mike bought, but everything else, bicycles and weight, everything you can imagine. But it is 5.5 acres. But no way I would want to be there because it's too much walking and it's way too big. But it's so impressive.
I was
really
gonna say,
is.
I'm still impressed by that. Like, one of my buddies, my buddy Gus, built a home gym and went all out. I'm still very impressed by that whole lifestyle, even though I'm sure there's a lot that comes with it that I'm not
Cleaning.
ready
A
for,
lot of
prepared
cleaning.
for, but I still think it's really impressive. That's awesome. I would love
just
that.
one thing. You go in the basement, which I don't even see them using it much. You go down there, the first thing you see is like a theater, like a studio. Richard, it's a studio. It's a studio with like screens. It says like now playing, and you go in this. Mike's going to do like his recording stuff down there. And then you get to a poker table on the left side, a huge bar like made of marble. Then you go through to ping pong tables, and it's just like endless, but it's way too much for me. I mean, I would never want it, but hey, if they can afford it, and they can, obviously, go for it. It is in the middle of nowhere. Not what Rich said. It is, except Richard Gere is there. I'd make my point to become buddies with Richard. He has a couple of young kids, by the way, a year old and all that. He has a young wife, whatever. But you see David Letterman jogging in the street with that big white beard, and he's bending over like he's going to die. You see that. But it's so impressive. But I agree with Rich. I mean, I'd rather, when I see his place in February, I know I'm going to love it. I'll say that's more my style than my son-in-law and stuff. But they're both doing well, and if you can afford it, that's what they want. That's what they got.
It's a great question. It is a great question. It's a matter of like, do you really want that, or do you just want it because we've been accustomed to want it, like from watching Cribs, and it's what comes with the elite and rich and money, like. I don't think part of me really still fucking wants that, even though I know it's not really good for my lifestyle. Like simple is probably better, but I want a fucking home theater. I want an arcade. Come on, who's gonna
clean all this? Who cleans all these rooms?
I want a recording studio
they have housekeepers. They have a sprinkler system. They have housekeepers. They're not doing the cleaning. His wife, my daughter-in-law, has a real good job that works for a multimillionaire, and she's like a rising star because of that. My son-in-law is doing so well, and they have the place in Vermont that they're making big money on, that Mariano Rivera has been there 4 times, and he wants to come more and more with
their house?
Family. Oh, yeah, in Vermont. He rents their house in Vermont. They have 2 huge houses in Vermont, part of a whole like estate with cottages, but they rent the whole house and pay like $5,000 for a week. And 4 times they've been there already, Rivera. And they have weddings there. They just had a wedding with 200 people, and they're booked for the next year with weddings. So it's they're doing well, but you guys go-getters like my son-in-law, and this, he's had his ups and downs in life, and he's on a roll now, like you guys are getting back on that you were. So it's just a matter of being at the right time, right place, and being a little lucky in life and keeping positive. That's about it.
Thanks. Hey, Greg, thank you, man. And it's always...
I miss you guys. I really do. And go the Yankees. Are they going to lose again or what?
10 in a row, baby. 10 in a row.
Man.
Woo!
I'm ready for football season, being a Met fan, but go Yankees for you, Steve. I root because of you. I say, why not? I used to be a Yankee fan, but now I'm a football fan.
Of course.
Let me put Rich back on, but great seeing you guys again, and keep up the good work.
Love talking to you too, Greg. Greg
All right,
poses
guys.
such an interesting question to me, man, because we're at the stage of life where we all know that it's not about that. It just isn't, right? And a lot of us have had nice things and have realized, who cares? It's not about that. But are you really past wanting those things? Like Greg says, hey, I don't need that shit.
I think everyone
would love that shit, even though I know more money, more problems. What are you going to do with a theater, your own home gym, your own arcade, your own like guest house and everything else?
They rent it out to people, invite people over.
I still think in my mind, that's what still motivates me.
I would love it, man.
Really?
Yeah, it really does.
Let me tell you, I couldn't hear what you guys. I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear you guys, but another thought I had, if pause on the Del Curry and go back to the mansion.
I think it's so great. It's so funny. But it really poses an interesting question, Rich.
Yeah, no, it does pose a question because I get what he's saying. There was Sarah and I were saying 3 things, and Sarah and I both agreed on our drive home last night because by the way, the way you guys hear it is how Sarah and I hear it too. Which is why we don't want to pick on my dad, but he does feel very glamored by this family.
Oh, the mansion. They got full floors. The top floors of the whole gym.
And I think my dad. I think my dad is just super proud of the success of people in his family.
Yeah,
right?
I said he has a sense of pride.
But what's crazy though is Sarah and I were saying there's a couple factors. You know, it's in the middle of nowhere. Secondly, it's when you're in that house. I'm not saying, and this isn't a justification, because Sarah and I were like, we actually had this conversation. We're like, when your house is so big, once the kids get a certain age, are you ever going to see them? Like, there's something about a house being too big where you're like, there's a sense that you lose closeness. Does that make sense?
You get together for dinner.
Of course.
No,
yeah.
but I'm saying you're already, Covino, you have a beautiful townhouse, and you say half the time, like, you're like, yo, where's my daughter? She's like not even in the living area. Imagine if you had three stories of just huge rooms. Like, you would never really see your family. You lose some type of like closeness, right?
For sure.
And when you have a house that big, you really are stuck with the design of the previous owner. Like, if it's not your style, which this place is not my style, might be yours, might be someone else's, but when it has that certain style, if it's not yours, the whole house is that style. So you have to, that has to become your style.
Like, what's the style?
Like dark wood everywhere, kitchen, rooms, everything, like everything. So it's like, you
Smells
can't
of real
like
mahogany.
Yeah. Mahogany, rich mahogany.
But like that, like it's but like, you know, when couches have like the knobs on it, does that make sense? Like the gold or silver, like around the,
like the
rivets,
divots, rivets.
Yeah, the little divot. Class. But it's like it looks too
it's too like
rich.
It's like it's
rich
too it's wealthy. You can say it.
Yeah, but like too wealthy to the point where it doesn't fit.
Money.
like old wealth, but to me that doesn't feel like comfortable.
Well, you have rooms that are comfortable.
No, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't feel comfortable.
It's very funny to realize, like, we already know we don't need this in our life to be happy. Like, but there's still a motivator there for me. Maybe it's a childhood motivator, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have my own arcade and I'm gonna have a fucking tennis court.
No, I don't have those dreams at all anymore.
I absolutely do.
My wife worked for the wealthy. You remember that?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a super mansion. It wasn't a mansion, but it was a
mansion.
It was a beautiful house in a very wealthy town, and it was multiple levels. And you know, they had their living area, which was fancy couches. They had a piano. They had a study. They had a fireplace. You know, they had the nice area.
Yeah.
They had the kitchen, the dining room, the extravagant dining room. But then they had their like the kids had like their hangout zone in the basement. That's where they would go watch movies and just chill on the shitty couches and relax. And then they had their bedrooms upstairs. So you can have both. You can't.
There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
The pro is the closeness, the connection, the simple sort of family life.
Like when you,
I don't say the answer is get a 1,200 square foot tiny house where you're all on top of each other. But I'm saying the opposite, where you have 5 acres and 10 to 12,000 square feet, and it's all designed in like a very like old school rich style. I just feel like I would feel like, even if it was my house, I'd feel like, is this my house?
Well, when you have like 100 rooms, you can dedicate a bunch of them to like just being fancy. They're showrooms. Like, you know, we always joke about this, but we grew up where the living room was untouched because that was for entertaining. And then we had our den or our basement or whatever. So when you have multiple rooms, you have the ability to have more of those rooms be the untouchables.
Yeah, but like you know how old school rich people have couches with like the couches actually like flower patterns.
Yes.
And you're like, yo, I would never get that shit, but it looks right in a mansion, but it would never look right in your home. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's more decorative at that point. You know
what?
It's just more decorative at that point.
Yeah, no, and then listen, it's beautiful. The reason I didn't bring it up is because I don't ever want to make my dad like sad or upset if I'm like, yo, I'm not like, cause I'm impressed, but I'm not like impressed, you know, like they do well and it's a beautiful house, but like, I don't look at that and say, man, I want that. You know?
I kind of do. Not gonna lie. I know I don't need it. I know I don't need it. I believe you me. I know I don't even need it. I've had nice cars. I don't need it. I know I don't, but I still fucking want it.
I don't want it or need it. I'll give you.
No, I get glamored, but I get glamored so much by like fancy shit. Yeah, like by a nice house, I'm like,
yeah, you know what? You then
has like a big garage with sweet cars in it.
I'm like, look at the ornate staircase.
Oh no, honestly, dude.
Oh, look
honestly,
at this room.
I feel this way.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I feel this way when I see
get excited
really nice vehicles, because in my mind I'm like, you know what I would like ideally if you told me pick out a car, I'd say I don't know, maybe like a Tesla, Mercedes, BMW, nothing like crazy. When I see someone with a $300,000 sports car, I'm like, no, I wouldn't want it. It's not my thing. Like the same way, like
because it's not practical. But the thing is, they have cars for practical use.
Joe Rogan said the best one. Joe Rogan, who is, a multimillionaire success story with UFC, his podcast, everything. Joe Rogan says, well, I buy these things simply because what's the point of having FU money if you don't spend it and say FU? And I guess that sort of makes sense. His whole reason is like, well, what's the point of having all this money if you're not going to spend it on stupid shit? That's the whole point of FU money. It's called FU money. I'm just saying, if you and I had some sick contract, I probably wouldn't live much more extravagant than I am now. I would not be the guy that's like, I need a study, I need a $300,000 sports car, I needed this, and it's just not a. So like I know you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I know that
it's about wanting it.
Yeah,
it's about like hey man, I made it. It's still that Cribs mentality. It's like look what my career and my hard work has earned me.
It's a next level. It's a next level of wealth. Yeah. It really is.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Because
awesome.
To buy a house, like let's say to buy like a $10 million house, right? You don't need to just have $10 million in the bank. You have to have like $20 million in the bank, because then there's upkeep and expenses and furnishing and all that stuff. It's a lifestyle. So once you get a $10 million contract, you're not buying a $10 million house. You're buying like a $5 million house.
All right, let me give you an example. Our pal Maria Menounos, right?
I was going to say, I love her house, and I see
like
her house.
Maria Menounos has, to me, what would be the height of what I would want. Maria Menounos probably has like a $3 or $4 million house in Southern California. And she has a pool, a tennis court, a gym, and a little basketball tennis court area, a pool, and a gym.
It's like a mini Greek villa.
And I'll be honest, and a modestly sized house for a quote celebrity house, but it's a $3-4 million house, I'd imagine, right? Maybe that's probably like
I would say it's more than that.
She has a courtyard.
Maybe like $5 million.
I think
it's gated.
At least 7 to 10
million.
check?
I know her address.
Yeah.
You think hold on. How much do you think, Covino?
7 to 10 million.
She has a courtyard, Rich, with like citrus trees.
Yeah. And the area she lives in too. You got to keep that in mind. But I agree with you, Rich, on the house. Like, that's a great goal to shoot for. Anything more without
pictures, it's hard to describe. But Maria Menounos lives beautifully, but not like the Buxtons,
right? Like not
the house. The house last night in the middle of nowhere was like a Buxton's house. You walked in and you're like, oh, they have a grand piano, like marble, like couches with like sitting chairs with like flower patterns. Like honestly, it looks like a super rich 80-year-old person lived there.
Can you address this? Because it's just annoying me and bothering me. A few people were like, Rich is hurt and this is awkward. And I'm like,
how am I hurt?
Exactly.
I'm not hurt.
So please address this, because I was just thinking it was funny and I wanted to hear your impression of the mansion. Like, I think that was a cool story.
No, it's not. I'm not hurt. It's just awkward because I don't want to insult my dad. And you guys pushed it a little bit because I don't want to be like, yo, I'm not impressed. Because the reality is, you want to know the truth? I'm not impressed at all, if you want me to say it. Not impressed at all.
We were
and
like fishing for it all. How would I have known that? I thought you would have been like, yo, it was cool.
Yeah. No, it was, but like, I'm not like, I almost feel like I wish my dad wasn't so glamored by it, because it's like, oh, like,
but I don't blame your dad. I'm on your dad's side.
My feelings
probably would be the same way.
I'm saying, no, but I'm saying, I know you're like that too. I'm not glamored by it. So if anything, my feelings aren't hurt. If anything, once in a while, I feel like a little eye rolly. That's all.
The Zestimate on that house is like $4 million.
Really?
Yeah. So if that gives you an idea.
Maria's?
Yeah.
I thought it was more than that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like Maria's house is like, to me, my top goal level, because anything more than that is stupid. They have a movie room, a tennis court, a pool, and like a really beautiful living area, a state-of-the-art kitchen. Honestly, Spot, what more can you possibly need than like our pal Maria Menounos' house, which is weird. Like I said, without pictures, it's hard to explain, but she lives beautifully,
but not
tell
by her level of success. We're saying, hey, she's not Stallone, but she's a great level of success that is a great attainable goal to strive for.
She's made millions, has a beautiful home.
But anyway, let's move on, because I'm getting feedback that is just rubbing me the wrong way, and that's like not the tone that I wanted to create whatsoever. He's saying that you guys are impressed, but you're also very jealous, and that Spot and I are killing you. And I'm like, okay, well then let's just move on. You brought up the Currys.
He's jealous.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this was a fun conversation.
It's almost like this is what you strive for. Like you kind of want you want that.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like,
And I loved your dad's take. I thought your dad posed a really dope question because I was actually thinking about your dad yesterday in the shower, which is odd. And I was thinking, your dad lives in his childhood home. Oh, I know why, because I was listening to our replay. And you were telling the story about how your dad found pictures of him playing baseball right where his gazebo sits right now.
Oh,
the
yeah.
50s, 60s.
Your
dad grew up in that house, and I was thinking that's all your dad needs. Your dad travels and sees the world, and he has a nice, beautiful, comfortable home where he grew up in Queens. It's the house he grew up in. But your dad is living such a great life. And I had all these thoughts running through my mind of like, that's all you really need in life. Look how happy he is. He's the guy living his life.
I agree.
So, I had all these thoughts yesterday, and I wanted to discuss these things because he brought up the mansion and all this other stuff.
I had that thought because I was sleeping with Ben last night in the upstairs little bedroom area where I lived until I was 4. And I'm like, yo, how crazy is that? I slept in this little, before my parents bought our house in Franklin Square, we lived in Queens until I was like 4.5, 5, until my brother was born. And then we moved into a house. And I'm laying there with Ben in the same exact area where I lived until I was 4, where I slept. So I was sleeping where I slept, 35 to 40 years ago with my son. And I'm like, yo, I was his size sleeping in this exact spot.
Yo, there's a reason I ignore the feedback because it's the worst right now. Like there's a guy saying you sound bitter, and I don't know if he's talking to me. I don't even know. And I'm like, the feedback is like not matching the conversation. I'm like, all right, whatever. So let's move on. So let's talk about the Currys. Anyway, I say you have goals. And even if we all know that these things are not necessary in our life, sometimes they're great motivators to work harder regardless. I don't think any of us need a fucking Lamborghini or some sort of Maserati or a Ducati or anything like that. But if that's what motivates you to work harder, then why not? And I don't think getting these things are necessarily a bad thing. Like when we saw our buddy, I see our buddy Tony Moriello chiming in, who's a successful lawyer, right? When we saw him sitting in front of his little library, and he's at his desk, and he's like, yeah, this is my home office. That's not impressive. It's awesome. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It's a Zoom backdrop. You guys fall victim
Is it
to that
really
all
a
the
Zoom
time.
backdrop?
It's a Zoom backdrop.
Either way, I would have never known.
So dumb.
I would have never known that. Either way, I'm impressed by that. I'm easily glamored, so I relate to your dad. So it's no knock or anything like that at all. I feel this sense of interest, and let's discuss it because I'm still in awe by those things. I am. You were not. And that's fine. And it's a fun discussion.
I just don't want to insult. I just don't want to insult anyone because I'm happy for them in their home. But
there was in me bringing this up, there was no thought of you insulting anybody.
Yeah.
But I'm saying by you saying me, by you asking me about the mansion, if I were to say, well, I'm not really impressed, I feel like that's insulting somebody.
No, you just say it's not for me.
You just say it's not for me.
Yeah,
that's okay.
You don't have to insult anyone.
It's not for me.
It's not
for you. I think it's still for me.
For us, I always say that if we, how we were always looking at vacation homes, I'm willing to spend a little bit more money and get some nicer things. And Kristen's like, she wants something really, really modest. Kristen would never live in a mansion. Never. If we hit the lottery and won $100 million, she would still want to live in a very small, modest kind of place. So because that's just her.
Our feedback sucks so bad right now.
Really?
Let's just move on. Yeah, I don't even like it, and it's not even about me.
What do you mean? Why does it suck?
It just does. I don't know. I feel like it's rubbing people the wrong way somehow.
I don't understand.
Whatever. I really don't either. I wanted to hear about it, and I also think it's funny that I just thought it would be funny. Let's move on. The Currys are in the news. Rich brought them up, so we'll go back to that.
He's coming.
And it's funny because my first initial thought is the exact opposite once again of Rich's thought.
I got to read our feedback.
It really is.
Yeah. What? By the way, where's the feedback so I can read it myself later?
On YouTube, on text message. Do you want me to read one?
Yeah, read one.
Please.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. Rich is the king of portraying what he has is so great and what everyone else has is shit or not worth it.
It's kind of rude.
Is that really the point you were trying to make?
How is that possible
That's
when
what I'm
I
saying.
literally
So I'm like,
just bought a house?
Even like everything we're trying to convey right now is coming across wrong. So I'm like, it's not even worth it. Like, I think we're.
Oh, give me more, yeah.
Like Rich, honestly, Rich, you share the sentiment of your dad. What you have is enough for you, and that's perfect. Anything more than a certain amount is a bonus. Like here, obviously, I'd love like maybe like 500 more square feet in our apartment, but like anything beyond that, now you're just like you have space to fill things with.
Peanut butter and jealous Davis. Is that the point you're trying to make?
Who,
Absolutely
me or
not. You. So yeah, we're trying to poke fun at you with that, but like. I
think that's the point. That's what you were trying to do, no?
No. I just think it's more interesting. Like, let's bring the Currys back into it, right? Seth Curry in any other scenario would be the ultimate success in his family and in his world and in his life. But his brother is Steph Curry, right? Now, Rich, you're a hugely successful guy, but your dad's stepdaughter and their family is also hugely successful. So there's a funny dynamic there as well. Like, you know, like in any other scenario, you're the most successful dude in the family and it provides for a different dynamic. And I wanted to know how it was in this mansion that your dad was talking about.
Oh, and we all get along great. That's the funny part is everyone gets along great. It just
right. And we were poking fun at you maybe being a little jealous, but people are taking it too literal. And that's it's not really what I wanted to convey.
No, can I read the feedback afterwards on YouTube, or is it go away?
Oh yeah, you can. You
it's
just
not,
figured that out.
It's not YouTube. It's the,
text
I
message.
think it's the text messages.
More of the text messages.
Everyone on YouTube seems nice.
Let's see, you can 713 says you can appreciate something for what it is, its worth, its beauty, without wanting it for yourself.
Yeah, like a sports car is the best example for me. Like sports cars, I look at them like, oh, it's beautiful, but I would never in a million billion years say that I want some, super sports car. Some people just don't want things, but you could say that's beautiful. And hey, man, like for instance, our buddy Narzan got some ridiculously beautiful car. I would never want that, but I look at him and say, good for him. He's doing well. He got that and he wanted it.
Yeah, I don't want one like as a because they're like
I'm sure Narzan has a very practical truck.
I think it was you that said it. Yeah, it's not very practical.
It's just his fun shit.
I would love to have the ability to have like a fun car.
Me too.
And I do. I have my version of a fun car. I have my version of a fun car, and that's enough for me. But I would. I don't permanently want like a Lamborghini, but do I want to take a Lamborghini out for the day? Yes.
I think they're great motivators, man.
Lambo.
I look at it like great motivation. I really do. We don't need it. We all could live happy lives. I also am driven by these things, and maybe their childhood dreams of being on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous or Cribs, as Cribs makes his comeback on MTV. I want to.
Is it making a comeback for real?
Yeah. Cribs is coming back. I still am very glamored the same way as your dad. So I'm coming from a perspective of I'm not really mocking your dad. I'm actually relating to your dad, and I think it's funny.
No, I'm saying that's a great word too. Not just because we love True Blood so much, but glamour is a great way because it's not jealousy. It's not anything negative or positive. It's just some people look at luxury different than others. And you're right. You and my dad are very similar in that. Very similar.
But I also know that there's a sense of vulnerability that I don't like, where I like to take a lot of pride in where I'm at and what I'm doing and what I could have achieved and things like that. And it's not jealousy, but like if someone has the things that I want, I'm reminded that I'm not where I want to be. And that's my motivator.
Gotcha on that one.
So I'm coming from my perspective of this is how I feel. I'm very honest and open about that. And I wanted to know your opinion. Your opinion was I'm fucking great where I'm at. And that's beautiful. So, hey, people can make what they want out of it. That's fine. Moving on. So much like the differences in this conversation, the Steph Curry thing, the minute I heard that his mom was getting or filed for divorce from Dell, NBA star from yesteryear, Dell Curry, the first immediate thing I thought of was Steph Curry's going to have contemporaries and dudes that he knows hitting on his mom. And I thought that was awkward as fuck. I hated that.
Because
they're grown men and they have to deal with who they have to deal with tabloids now of who their mom is dating. That's embarrassing.
My first thought was, it's gonna be LeVar Burton.
Yes. It's
got to be someone. It's got to be a beloved older man. It can't just be. Yeah, it can't be like Delonte West, like LeBron, right?
No, but something like that is bound to happen, and they don't need that in their life. They're their own men. They're successful. I'm sure their mom's happiness or their parents' happiness is their number one priority, but it's probably also sad to them that the family's breaking up in this way and so publicly. And now who their mom is going to be dating is also going to be a headline. And who their dad is with next is also going to be a headline. Like, they're too old for that and established for that.
And then because they're in the public eye. You're right. There's added elements like who's your mom ending up with, who's your dad hooking up with, and Del Curry's got money. And he was an NBA player. So if Del Curry shows up with some young biddy, people are going to talk and it's going to be a distraction.
You think the very established Seth and Steph Curry need to have that shit in the headlines? Like, that's just, it's unfortunate. It really is. So the first thought I did have was EJ Reed's thought of what sort of Stedman guy, what sort of guy is going to be diving into her DMs? Yeah, like, is she going to be dating someone of that era? So, look, Steph Curry and Seth are in the NBA, right? His mom is very much in that circle, intertwined in that circle for being with Del for all those years. So does she end up with a Karl Malone now? I mean, even
Karl Malone.
Yeah. Now they're going to be like, my stepdad's Karl Malone? Fuck. Think about it.
Oh, man. Draymond Green's going to be fucking tapping that booty of his mama.
Draymond is their contemporary, right? Yeah. It's got to be someone that they used to look up to.
Oh, man.
Like someone
like Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, like someone of that era. Someone who played, in the same years as Dell probably. Is probably like, I always like.
I'm trying to give me.
I always like Sonya or Sonya.
Oh, what if it's like Kurt Rambis?
Kurt Rambis. Like now, Kurt Rambis has got to deal with Steph and Seth Curry.
Oh, that's an angle. My thought, though, the bigger thought was, first of all, if they weren't in the NBA, at that stage, do you care if your parents get divorced? If you're a grown man, like I'm asking you
because now they're. I thought of all this yesterday. I really did.
What if your parents, like, because I guess my parents broke up when I was younger. You're a grown man. When you're a grown man with your own family, and your own life, and your own job, and your own problems, if Big Steve and Tim were like, we're calling it quits, would you be like heartbroken or like, life is what it is? Like, would you be heartbroken?
Well, you want people, and you posed this question before, you want them to live out the rest of their years happy, right? So happiness is number one.
Yeah.
So, okay, I want you to be happy, I guess. But then it's unfortunate because, like, holidays and visitation and everything's all divided. And it's like, you just made it complicated for everybody. It just sucks. It's like, so now the Currys can't get together like they used to for Christmas and shit. Like that.
So what you're no, but I'm saying, so in their mind, it's like, so we should stay together so your Christmas plans are easy?
No.
Because there's 364 other days a year. So they're thinking like, I'm unhappy with this. It sounds terrible, but they're probably thinking, I've been unhappy for a while. And then it made me also think of another thing, Covino. You said this made you think a million things. It made me think, were they ever happy? And did they say, let's stick it out? And they just kept sticking it out. Like, all right, let's wait till Seth and Steph are grown. All right, let's wait. And they just kept waiting and waiting. And finally, like, I'm done with you, devil woman. And she's like, I'm done with you, jerk off. Like, was it that type of thing?
Who knows, man? But I would imagine someone said, Andrew Sims says Muggsy Bogues is diving into those DMs right now. Now
Muggsy Bogues, Larry Johnson.
If I was Steph Curry
Johnson
and Seth Curry, I'd be like, man, I don't need Muggsy Bogues trying to be like my stepdad now. Like I just don't need that in my life. Fuck. I wish they would have stayed together, but I want them to be happy. So that's what's happening there. So that was the story. TMZ broke it yesterday.
Did you hear that Anthony Mason carved her name into his head?
Exactly. By the way, rest in peace, Anthony Mason.
That's right. As soon as I said that, I'm like, wait, did he die?
Yeah, he passed away. But
I forgot that.
Clearly, but still, it's the same era of player that I'm talking. Latrell Sprewell wants to be splitting those cheeks right about now as we speak. Now Steph is like, Mom, Latrell for real? Mom. And Dell's like, fuck. I always knew Latrell was fucking had the eye for my baby mama. So Sonya Curry,
even worse, she's gonna start dating Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A., who was on Jimmy Kimmel.
The
last
fact of
night.
the matter is, I'm your stepdaddy.
Yep. He was on Jimbo Kimball yesterday. But Sonia Curry and Dell have announced their divorce. Let me see if there's any added element to that story that I may be forgetting.
Every TMZ and Page 6 and everything were like no details. So I didn't see anything. I was wondering if one of them was going to leak some bullshit like Dell was banging strippers or something, or she was up to no good.
Well, the mom filed the divorce from Dell. So she filed the divorce, and it got people talking because they have a hugely public relationship and a hugely successful family. We got 2 sons currently in the NBA. One of them.
By the way, there was I didn't finish watching. I did not finish watching season 1 of The Morning Show, which is by far the best show I've seen in a long time. But it is interesting. There was a whole episode. I don't want to give much away, but there was a whole episode based on when a celebrity gets divorced, how important it is for the narrative as to who filed. Like, depending on who filed for divorce, sort of tells the general public what to think. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. So
if he filed for
she's
divorce,
unhappy with Dell for what reason?
Yeah, like if she filed for divorce, the narrative is probably infidelity, or knock on wood, because this is not the case with this one, but
unhappy in this scenario.
Abuse or infidelity. There's usually a thing. If the man files for divorce, the narrative becomes, she's a fucking lunatic. Like, there's a narrative based on who filed. So that's why a lot of times people will be like, it's a mutual thing, because if one person files, especially if they're a celebrity couple, there is a distinct narrative of what the public's going to think.
I'm Key wraps it up perfectly. So now the question is, who gets the mansion? Moving on. The end. So that's a big story. Dell and Sonia Curry
the mansion
are getting divorced. Hey, Rich, I said I wanted to treat today like a Thursday or Friday, because Tuesday, this is the last show we're going to have for the week as of now. Being our own bosses, guys, and working for you guys, it's given us the liberties and freedoms to sort of do as we want. And as you know, we've done our due diligence to keep this going every day. But Rich is in New Jersey, actually in Queens right now, doing his thing, and we have Wednesday through Friday technically off. So we're not doing Wednesday, Thursday. Friday was never a guarantee part of this deal anyway. But with that freedom, we could say, hey, we'll hop on live and do something impromptu, or hey, we'll do some behind the velvet rope stuff. That doesn't mean we're not going to have more content for the rest of the week. Just keeping you
in fact,
posted.
if anything, I felt way more comfortable taking days when I worked for a company. With this, I feel more responsibility to not take off. But I was like, you know what? We can't just not ever do things. That's.
No, I'm just explaining.
Exactly.
Fine.
But there is a feeling of like, well, shit, when are we going to take days? And it's like, well, you can't just
believe me,
live
Rich,
like a weirdo because we're doing it.
I'm so stressed out. You don't even fucking know. I could see it in my face. I'm so stressed with life and where we're headed and just everything.
What's going on? What's going on, man?
Nothing.
Open up.
No, nothing worthy of opening up about, just life. And, like I said.
Is it jealousy? Is it the mansion?
It's everything. It's being misunderstood all the time. It's putting my thoughts out there every day and having people fucking criticize them. Yeah, all those little things.
Mansion.
It's, where life's headed and decisions I got to make. And it's everything. It's where our job and career is going. I haven't seen my family in 2 fucking years. It's everything you could possibly imagine. So it's not just one thing.
When you played MASH in school, didn't you hope you got the mansion?
Always. I mean, I did. Rich did not.
Rich, what did you hope for?
My
the
point
apartment?
was I didn't give up on that.
The shack? Did you hope for the shack or the house? I always wanted the mansion. I always wanted the mansion.
Fuck yeah, I wanted the mansion.
Well, I would have taken the shack if it meant the right girl. If you're playing MASH.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh no, MASH wasn't the thing. MASH was just you wrote MASH, right? And then it was like name 5 things.
You went around. And you
went
picked
around,
the number and you cross things off. Yeah.
MASH. I remember playing MASH with my buddy. It was like, all right, name the girl. It was like name the girls you like, name the job you want, name the things. Then you would cross them off one at a time, and you would end up like, all right, Spot, you're gonna marry Kristen, live in a shack, and fucking be a delivery guy. I remember that. That was definitely something people did.
Yeah. So anyway, Rich, I don't mind the days off. I was just explaining that we should treat today like the end of the week. So there was certain things I wanted to get to that are happening this weekend, like Jake Paul, Woodley, right? Like we're not going to talk about that because that's this weekend. But yeah, man, I could use the days off. I'm not putting it on you. I'll take the fucking days off and enjoy the shit out of them. Even if I'm doing nothing.
Jake Paul posted a video. He's like 5 years ago, and it was him like hosting some corny Disney shit. And he's like, it was Woodley in the ring. So I don't know if he's trying to make it seem like, yo, you're gonna get your ass whipped by this Disney kid or something. Did you see that clip or no?
No, I haven't. But
no, Jake Paul was like, he posted a picture of a video of him doing some corny Disney shit, and it's like 5 years ago, and then it's Woodley in the octagon, and it's like, I think it's his way of trolling Woodley, saying like, yo, you're gonna get your ass kicked by that fucking Disney kid.
I mean, it happens all the time. Look at when Kevin Durant was playing against Devin Booker. Devin Booker was in Kevin Durant's basketball camp just like a few years earlier. These kids grow up quick.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. So since we're going to treat this like it could be our last real show of the week, I wanted to bring up something that I think is must-watch TV. For most people, it's probably not, but my job is to tell you why I think it is. I saw an ad. I believe our buddy Will, Magic Will, posted this first, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm tuning in. What's up, Magic Will? The whole crew. CJ and Deuce, the whole crew. There's a show on ABC, a documentary series called Superstars. And this week, I'm tuning in because there's a guy that's so special, I think, in our life that deserves this tribute. And I'm like, fuck yes. I'm all about it. I'm like taking one guy off of my Mount Rushmore, and I might be putting this guy up there.
Oh, man. Okay. And on your Mount Rushmore, by the way, if people don't know, is what? Pee Wee Herman, Don Mattingly, and who else?
And this guy.
Who's on you? Who's
we
the
did
one
a
Yankee?
comedy.
Who's the one Yankee you choose?
My one Yankee's Mattingly.
Yeah, Mattingly.
Always?
He was baseball to me
okay.
in the 80s.
And mustaches.
He reminded me of my dad on the Yankees. So tomorrow, August 25th, a documentary celebrating the life of John Ritter airs. And I'm like, yo, sign me up. I'm tuning in. Because if you could find the trailer spot, again, it's called Superstars on ABC. It debuted this month. It examined the life and career of various celebrities that were taken from us far too soon.
Did you guys watch the Kobe one?
It kicked off with Whitney Houston.
Ooh.
Kobe Bryant aired this week for his birthday week.
Yeah.
And John Ritter is slated to air on August 25th with Richard Pryor's on September 1st. So this is like a great series that you probably just got wind of with the Kobe Bryant stuff. I missed the Whitney Houston thing. But John Ritter this week to me said, hold on, pause. I really want to see this because here's a guy that I think we all loved, but I don't think really gets the credit that he deserves. Like, to me, this guy opened doors for like Jim Carrey. Like, Jim Carrey should be in this documentary being like, I'd be nothing without John Ritter. Like, I feel like everyone should be kissing the ass of John Ritter.
Before Jim Carrey, physical comedy, falling over a couch just the right way. That was all John Ritter.
But I did hear in this like trailer of his likability and how great he was and how destined he was to be a star. They're like, he was like a Tom Hanks, and I'm like, yeah, he was like a treasure. I feel like this is a dude who was so likable, and his career could have gone so many different ways. And he was just starting. I think you have to remember, guys, we're treating this like a way back Wednesday, throwback Thursday conversation now, guys. But I know, but in those days,
why do you have to label it? We're having a combo.
Yeah, because I wanted to bring. I have a method, bro, and I wanted to talk about this on
I don't get
Wednesday
the method,
or Thursday. I wanted to talk about this on the day it aired, so I have to get in the mindset. We are coming from a place where when you were a TV star, that's what you were. There was a difference between television star and movie star, right? So in John Ritter's day, yeah, he was a TV star, but he wasn't. Give me an 80s star. He wasn't Mel Gibson. You know, he wasn't Sean Penn. He wasn't a movie star. The only person we had seen really do this successfully at that time was Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox went from TV star to movie star, and it's like, wow, that's crazy. Nowadays, that's not crazy at all. You know, you could be a fucking social media star that gets a movie. Doesn't matter. But those lines were very
Ritter,
clear back then.
The only John Ritter we saw in the movies was what? Problem Child?
That's what I'm saying. We were getting to the point where he was becoming
Stay tuned. I love that movie.
Involved in movies.
Where he got sucked into the TV. Remember that?
Yeah,
No?
but then, you know, his life was cut short. So we don't know where his again, he was a little older, but still we don't know where his career was headed. We don't know. And it sucks. And I think
I have a question. How old was he when he died?
Probably younger than we realize. But if you want to see some of the trailer too, he was doing that show with Kaylee Cuoco, wasn't he? Because she's
8 Simple Rules.
Yeah.
He was
born in 48, so he was.
And he died in 2003. So math 253. 55.
55.
I just did Common Core math in my
But a
head.
guy we really just knew as a
55.
TV star for the most part. And it looks really good. And just wanted to remind everybody to check that out and set the DVR for tomorrow because I'll be checking it out. And his son's in it. It looks really heartfelt. And he's
I have
just
the
one of those
trailer,
guys
if you wanna see it.
that, you know, they speak so highly of. And one of those guys I think we should give more credit to because there's so many pieces of shit that we talk about all the time. John Ritter just seems to be one of those really good dudes who is likable for everybody.
If John Ritter died in 2003 at the age of 55, we started the show in 2005. So like in my mind, like he would have been a guy we met on our show. He would have been a guy like looking at the older pictures of him, like Spot. Can you get a picture of him on 8 Simple Rules? Because I don't want you to picture John Ritter from Three's Company because that's the John Ritter I picture. Can we get a Google image of John Ritter on 8 Simple Rules? Because I want to sort of figure out how we would feel about this John Ritter getting older. Would he have been in movies in the 2000s, and we would have been like, "Yo, fucking John Ritter's my dude"? Like,
I think so, man.
There's been plenty of actors that had like second comings.
Quentin Tarantino may have casted him in a cool fucking movie.
Here's a photo of him with Kaylee Cuoco, so you know this is from that era.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you see
He's
the
just
clips,
like an older, puffier version of Jack Tripper.
when you see the clips, though, you realize how just talented and likable he was. Like they say, I think they make reference to like his first appearance was on the dating show or the dating
game in 1967.
And you see he's just a regular guy, probably trying to make it in Hollywood, and he's on the dating game. And his behavior on this show, Rich, is automatically like, this is hilarious. Who is this idiot? Because there was something really special about the guy. Do you got the trailer or no?
What do you think I keep pulling up in front of you?
All right, ready, Rich? Take a listen. Take a look-see. If you got nothing to do tomorrow, now you do.
When you think of John Ritter,
Something special.
Hilarious. The most fun.
Comedy genius.
He was walking fun.
he never misses a moment.
John Ritter appears as a contestant on the dating game.
John, good afternoon to you.
He's basically using it as like an improv exercise.
He's lovable.
In the kind of same category as like a Tom Hanks, just like them.
John was like no one I've ever met.
Before the sitcoms of Friends and even Will and Grace, you had Three's Company. You see the star that John Ritter is going to be.
Watching John become successful was not a surprise.
He'd been trying a lot of different things.
I think it was more important to him to be seen as an artist.
Then one day he falls sick on the set.
I'm Jason Ritter. I'm John's son. My phone started buzzing.
He was always afraid that this would happen.
No one had been able to see it coming.
I just heard screaming.
Wait, what? He had a what? I just couldn't believe it.
And that was it.
Wednesday night on ABC.
Tune it in.
Just one name, one man brought all these stars together.
When I think back, Rich,
John Ritter.
John Ritter is such a talent.
I really love him.
oh yeah, Kelly Cuoco starts crying. Like I still really love him so much till this day. Like she loved him so much. When I think back in my childhood, I loved Three's Company. And I thought
it was her TV. It was her TV dad. It was her TV dad.
And I thought John Ritter was one of the funniest dudes as a kid. He was everything that was funny to you as a kid growing up, at least to me. You know, growing up. And what was he all about? Going out and getting chicks, the Regal Beagle.
The physical comedy was so great.
So I'm fucking amped up to watch this shit, and I'm psyched for the new series. And like I said, even the Richard Pryor one, I think that's pretty cool. I'll tune in and check that out. So just wanted to bring that up.
I just pictured John Ritter falling over the fence at the zoo when he sees a hot girl pass.
Falling off the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's looking at the ass.
Sitting at the in like Santa Monica or Venice.
I mean, he falls off the bike in the sand looking at a hot girl. But Spot, if you can find the trailer, it's one of the later seasons where when he falls like on the fence sitting at the zoo because a good-looking girl passes, to me that's like John Ritter summed up.
Rich, do you think he gets the credit he deserves? I don't
Yes.
think you do.
I do because I've always thought of him as like a legend lost too soon. Like maybe he doesn't. Maybe this will give the credit to a younger generation. But I think John Ritter is one of the greatest ever.
Okay, yeah, but you do personally. Okay, so
yeah, I agree with you that probably the masses do not.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
To me, John Ritter is like. I never did wonder though what you just said. Where would he have gone? Because 8 Simple Rules was a big show, if you remember, right? 8 Simple Rules was a big show. He dies. The show goes on, but it's not the same. Would John Ritter have been the dad in random movies? Like, all right, think about it this way. Movies in the 2000s, like, you know how De Niro started playing it? You know how De Niro started playing a dad and like Analyze This and Meet the Fockers and Meet the Parents. Would John Ritter have had a run?
Yes. We would have seen John Ritter, who was just primarily a TV star to us, opposite other movie stars of that era, maybe.
Yeah.
Because those lines were blurring at that time.
Does she pretend? Oh, here.
He's so likable, dude. Wait, so it's a different intro when he falls into the sand?
Yeah, that's like an earlier one.
That's different seasons, Covino. Yeah. Then there was the one on the Santa Monica Pier where he's in the bumper cars.
This one. And then there's the bumper cars.
But dude, his whole stupid vibe.
Look at his face. Hold on.
He was so good at that shit.
Come and knock on our door. We've been waiting
He was great, man.
Oh, man.
That sucks. You know, when I saw the trailer for this, or when Magic Will posted this on social media, I'm like, yo, sign me up for sure. And for the sake of reminiscing, Spot, can you play the original? It's one of my favorites. The original theme. Before they had the lyrics to the song, they had a theme.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking funny. But tune in tomorrow night and make note of this new ABC series because it looks pretty cool. It's called Superstars. Wanted to bring that up. And like I said, as a kid, I watched more Three's Company than anything. Here's the original theme to Three's Company. All right.
Doobie doobie doo ah.
A few rando news.
Remember when we had Joyce DeWitt on the show?
Yeah, we had Joyce DeWitt on our show, man.
Remember that?
She was lovely, yeah.
She was lovely.
She was a
lovely.
nice older lady, and she was hot back in the day for sure. So that's your throwback conversation for the week. A little earlier than expected, but other stories.
You know, I think the more I thought about it, though, I think I nailed what his role would be. I think his role would have been like the funny, goofy dad or grandpa in movies. Like I thought of another role where like they casted it great, but he would have been. Remember in Daddy's Home 2, and the parents were Mel Gibson. The grandparents were Mel Gibson and John Lithgow. Like John Ritter would have played like the Lithgow guy, like the goofy grandpa or something like that.
And would have been great at it, you know? And
yeah,
it would have been more of a movie star that we never really got to see. We had just started to see that because, again, the lines were so clear. You were TV star, movie star. not too much in between back then. And he was making that transition. All right. Thank you. Shout out to Jeff the Jerkman, Cliff, Kinky Blender, Rolando H.
562 made a good point. Like he almost was like the next Dick Van Dyke. Like Dick Van Dyke was like that young comedian, very like slapstick kind of comedy kind of thing. As he got older, he got into movies and then, other TV shows. And then eventually he became like that like fun old guy. That's a good comparison, I think.
And it got me
if
thinking.
You know Dick Van Dyke.
Of course. And it got me thinking of other just universally likable guys. And, John Ritter, it should be in that conversation. I never really thought of him as a Tom Hanks.
I don't think anyone's I don't like John Ritter. I think John Ritter is universally liked. I agree.
Yeah, there's not too many of them. Like, who really says, who I fucking hate? Tom Hanks. Not too many people, right? Not too many. There's only one person, Henry Winkler at one point, which was the weirdest story ever. Who's another guy who's in this conversation, who's in this documentary. Henry Winkler, like, who doesn't love the Fonz and everything he has done? Tom Hanks. John Ritter is up there. That's like a specific Mount Rushmore of universally likable people who are lovable at the same time. Those are three of them. Tom Hanks, Henry Winkler, John Ritter. Throw one other guy in there.
He's younger for that conversation, but Dwayne The Rock Johnson. There's no one that doesn't like The Rock.
I saw a clip that made me like him even more. Did you see it recently?
Yeah, he saw people passing his house on like a Hollywood tour.
Yeah, this is great. It's worth playing. It's on his social media. He says he sees these vans often in his neighborhood, and he goes,
look, that's where The Rock lives. And he's like, yo, they're looking at where The Rock lives. And he's like, let me say hi to him.
And it's great. Just more reason to like The Rock.
But it is funny how humans react to other people. Like, there's people that are like, like screaming. And I'm like, I got it, I guess, when it was like when it's footage of like teenage girls with like the Beatles or NSYNC or something like that. But like, really, a bunch of grown people like screaming because they see The Rock. It's pretty funny when you think about human nature.
This is great. Here's another universally likable guy. Not too many people.
This is kind of funny. There's a tour bus here. It always tours through my neighborhood. Hey, you guys know where I can find The Rock? How you guys doing? I'll wait. Don't worry. How you guys doing? Everybody good? All right. Hey, you're very welcome. All right, brother. Oh, cool. Well, you guys have a good trip. All right, thank you. Love you too. Hey. Oh, well, that was fun. It's a good way to start off my Saturday. Bye. Here we go.
That's so fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to take away from all these people. And, I think deep down, we all just want to be liked, right? But you want to be liked for who you are. And sometimes who you are is a jerk off, and I let that show often here on the show because you try to be honest. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel this way and you might not like it. Sorry. But we all want to be liked. And you know who had a great knack at it that we could all learn from? John Ritter, Tom Hanks, The Rock, and, Dick Van Dyke.
Henry Winkler.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Check that out. Now, rando news of the day, real quick, Rich. We'll get into it.
I noticed.
Not a whole lot. We brought a lot of it up already.
News alert. The drummer of the Rolling Stones, Charlie Watts, died.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, what? The only guy that dressed like an old guy?
The only guy that was like a normal guy, yeah.
That's crazy. 77 or something?
80.
Oh, he was 80?
80.
Fuck. Yo, there was something really crazy about Charlie Watts. He always looked like he didn't belong in the band. He was like just a regular guy.
Right.
He was a really great drummer, and there was something about his disposition that always stood out to me, especially, in the world of rock. He had a way about him where he was so nonchalantly, compare him to his contemporaries. Like Ringo Starr was a goofy guy, but he was like animal behind the kit, fucking going nuts, hair's flopping around and shit. Charlie Watts was like,
looks like he's on leave from the fucking.
He couldn't be
from the home.
Yeah, he was so. See that look on his face?
I'm just gonna go play some drums.
That's how he looked, even as a young man playing the drums, like very cavalier, nonchalant. And here he is, keeping pace for the greatest rock group, arguably the greatest rock group of all time, the Rolling Stones. He looked like he could give 2 fucks back there, and he was just doing his thing. That's pretty crazy.
He was
man.
just keeping time.
Yeah. He had this way about him. This really calm, like,
look at him.
Yeah, he had this weird demeanor about him.
Playing drums.
Yeah, he's just doing his thing.
He's wearing a suit. He's wearing a suit and tie. Everyone. I mean, he was the one guy that was just not the rock star looking Rolling Stone. So hey, there you go. How old, Spot?
80. Or maybe it was just cool. No, playing the tambourine, saying, "Hey, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. These guys got this. Mick Jagger especially. We got the greatest frontman of all time. I'm just gonna sit back here and play the drums." And he was cool in his role, and he was a great drummer. That's sad to hear. But who lived a fucking cooler life than them?
I can't find a picture of him
And
with
you know what?
one rock out face.
If you wanted to,
he's just like,
if he wanted,
pick up any video where they show Charlie Watts. He's like,
if he wanted to live under the radar, also he could, because no one would be like, "There's Charlie Watts." Like he's the guy that could go to the supermarket and no one would be like, "Wait, is that the guy in the Rolling Stones?" Because they had such a strong front man, such a strong number 2, that Charlie Watts lived his whole life as a Rolling Stone, but could also live his whole life as like regular guy that no one really knew was a Rolling Stone.
There he is. Sorry, I just found a random video. A drummingly interesting conversation with Charlie Watts, but he was just, one of the greats. But it's funny because we were talking about him recently because a picture surfaced of the Rolling Stones, and he's the only guy that dresses like a regular old guy. The rest of them, they all look like rock stars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks. Yeah, he was wearing like a dad jacket and slacks, and the rest of the guys that looked like rock stars that were shouldn't be dressed like that.
And
anymore.
it made sense because of just knowing the type of guy he was. So all right, so rest in peace. All right, another rando news. That's sad to hear. That's a legend, guys. That's a legend. When you think of the impact the Rolling Stones had. I mean, I'm from a Beatles family. But the Rolling Stones are huge. So this is
would you agree with that? Would you agree with that sentiment though, that he probably was the most famous under the radar guy in music? Meaning,
I don't.
You're right.
I don't, because I know very well who he is and what he looks like. But I see what
you're trying
saying.
to tell me that if you were trying to tell me if you were at Ralph's or Starbucks, he was wearing a windbreaker and pants and slacks, you'd immediately like, "Oh my God, Charlie Watts," or would you be like, "Just old guy in line at the supermarket"? I don't think anyone would recognize that guy, but he lived a life of.
Perhaps you're
he's
right.
a Rolling Stone.
We're also talking about the Rolling Stones, where every guy's sort of a
but we're
superstar.
also talking about.
And I would. I'm not saying everybody would. I'm saying it's the Rolling Stones. I absolutely would know it was him. And
I think five out of 100 people would have recognized him, and that's sort of the awesomeness of his life. I bet
one could argue that he stood out even more because he appeared to be a regular guy who was just.
Well, Covino, if he was walking around town with Mick Jagger, yes, but I'm saying if he was just on his own, like sitting at IHOP, do you think anyone would be like, "Yo, there he is"?
I'm an MTV kid who loves music, so yeah, I would pick him out of a fucking crowd of hundreds of people. Absolutely, like there's Charlie Watts.
Oh, okay,
but I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of everybody, and I don't feel like arguing about that. So rest in peace, Charlie Watts. That sucks. Breaking news from Spot, and there's other stories to get to. We mentioned Del Curry and Sonia Curry. Steph and Seth's parents are getting a divorce. That's big in the news. There was a story that went viral yesterday, Spot. I sent it to you this morning. It was about a dad who blew his son's. Oh, did I not send it?
Blew his son's what?
Announcement?
Oh.
Yeah, I thought I sent it to you. Did I not? Let me see. It's on every sports highlight.
Let me check.
There's a kid named Jaleel Tucker who's about to make his announcement on what college he is attending. And
you did not.
So I'm sorry about that. Not sure what happened there. Won't happen again. I meant to send it. So just search Jaleel, Jalil, Jaleel Tucker. It's a big moment in his life. He's ready to pull that hat out of his bag and be like, "Yeah, I've made my announcement and I'm going to attend or going to play for." But before he does that, they speak to the dad and they're like, "Hey, Dad, How do you feel about your son and his big announcement? His dad sort of blows it for him.
I didn't see this, but I saw the intro to it, so I really do want to see this.
Yeah, dad spoils his son's college decision. Sorry about that. This is on me, guys, but this was very viral yesterday.
I'm happy. I'm happy for him. He's a good kid. Lazy, but he's a good kid. And I know he's going to represent Oregon well.
All right. We're gonna do it. All right.
Oh man.
Have the decision. Tell us who it's gonna be.
For the next couple years, I'll be attending the University of Oregon.
Tucker becomes Oregon's 19th known verbal commitment in the class of 2022, and he's the program's third highest rated prospect. So they're excited. The football team's excited to have him. Just trying to find his position. Hold on.
That is really funny.
But anyway, the dad's like, oh, he's going to be a great addition. Fucking. And it's the dad's reaction because the dad's like, oh my God, I spilled the beans. I spilled the tea. You know, and he's like, fuck, and he dips out. His reaction is what's funny about it. The dad says it, realizes he fucked up, covers his mouth, and like runs away. He pulls a Homer Simpson. He dives back into the bushes like, fuck, I just ruined it for my son. The son doesn't even realize what happened. It's really funny. But, you know.
I'm happy. I'm happy for him. He's a good kid. Lazy, but he's a good kid. And I know he's going to represent Oregon well.
What did you say? All right. We're gonna do it. All right.
Don't worry. Just go.
Have the decision. Tell us who it's gonna be.
For the next couple years, I'll be attending the University of Oregon.
But still a proud moment, but it went viral because it's funny, and there you go.
You know what? I tell you what. I don't want to be that guy, but maybe if it was set up, it would be, they knew they'd get press for a kid that no one really knows.
You know what, Rich? I mean, it's possible, man.
I just want to throw it out there, not because I think that, and
No,
I don't want to be an
possible.
asshole. I don't want to be an asshole skeptic, but I'm just saying, in a world of viral videos and social media, like, yo, guess what?
Someone
by doing that was on probably Sports Center. It was on Fox. It was on. We are talking about it. I'm sure other talk shows are talking about it.
A very clever PR person who said, "Hey, man, you want to make this bigger? I got an idea.
Yo, let's be funny. Like, yo, pretend like you have your dad slip and give it away, and it'll be like a blooper or something. Like
it's in today's world, especially. Rich is making a great point. And
I mean, I don't want to think that because I want to think it was just a funny mistake, but you never know, right? I mean, like, it's pretty funny. Now, speaking of football, Covino, how do you feel about Green Bay Packers Coach LaFleur? Coach LaFleur, who got so much shit last year for, not going for it on fourth down. Remember that? Aaron Rodgers will be playing. Green Bay. Is it the last dance for all these Packers? We'll see. He's saying he wants the fans to not do the wave. Lame request, or do you get it? He's pretty much saying, know your situational football. When we're on offense and it's like 3rd and 2, fucking stop cheering, stop doing the wave, and focus. Now, when the other team's on offense, make noise. He's pretty much saying the fans need to up their situational fandom awareness.
It's okay. I mean, yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, look at the NBA. It's they're doing the opposite of what they do in the NBA. In the NBA, when the opposing team is taking a foul shot, they got their bang sticks. They're trying to distract the opposing team. You shouldn't be trying to distract your home team. That's counterproductive. It makes no sense. So he has to make this clear to everybody. Then look, this is a game of, it's not a game of inches, it's a game of yards. It could be inches, right? Every little edge helps. If playing at home is supposed to give you the advantage, hey guys, here's what you need to do to make this better. I'm not mad at it, really. He's making a decent point. The fans should know better. But he is calling out the fans. He's saying, yo, you guys are a little dumb.
He's pretty much saying, you know how the 12th man in Seattle is an advantage in certain stadiums? You guys aren't as smart because.
But someone who needs to be the person to address it then?
That's true. It was a Peyton Manning thing back in there. Remember what made Indianapolis such a home field was when Peyton Manning had the ball, he would go up to the line of scrimmage and do a little put his hands down, do a little all right, everyone be quiet. You could hear a pin drop, which is why you would always hear Peyton Manning throwing out his audible calls and everything because people respected the Peyton Manning all right, everyone be quiet in the stadium, in the in the dome. And then on defense, that shit got loud. So I don't have a problem with it either, but it was pretty funny saying Matt LaFleur tells the fans to stop fucking doing the wave.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth hits this up, and he says, the wave is so 1995 people should just stop regardless anyway. But, yeah, I think he's making a good point. People may take it personal, but fans should know better, man. And certain fans do have better reputations of being smart and really being on it and knowing the circumstances. Or knowing that, I'll give you an example. I mean, it's obvious, but an obvious example from this weekend. People knew when Manny Pacquiao lost that it was probably his last fight because they were aware fans. They weren't doing the wave in that moment. They were like, yo, this is our time to fucking acknowledge and cheer and chant Manny, 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 because they were very aware that this might be the last moment. And you notice that if you watch sports, that certain fans are a lot more aware of what the circumstances are. Seems to me that Green Bay, when it comes to playing offense, are not aware. And he's just setting his boundaries. So, I mean, I think he shouldn't have had to do it. The fans should know better.
We brought up Steph Curry and Seth Curry's dad earlier, Del Curry, and the mom getting divorced. You've seen him and the mom wear those, wearing different jerseys when their sons play each other. Did you see the baseball story that was pretty funny? Aaron Nola and his brother, Austin Nola, faced each other. And the dad was in the stands, and the dad was wearing one jersey on top of the other jersey. And Aaron Nola, who I know being a National League Baseball fan, he's been pitching for a while. Aaron Nola struck out his older brother, Austin Nola. And this guy's been pitching the bigs for years.
And he hit a double, I think.
This guy's been pitching the bigs for years. The second and third fastest pitches he has ever thrown in his years in the major leagues, two of the top three fastest pitches he's ever thrown were against his older brother. So if you're telling me his juices weren't flowing, and think of how many times him and his brother faced in the backyard, right?
And the whiff.
And his dad's there. His dad's there with the jersey with both teams. He's got the Padres underneath the Phillies jersey.
And then, like I said, he had a big moment. The Phillies ended up losing this game, but he also had a big hit that game that put him ahead. So he had a big game against his big bro.
I think that's it's not an Archie Manning moment. I mean, that's that guy's got the super sperm, and same with Del Curry. But that guy, that Nola's dad, how cool is that your two boys are facing in the major leagues? Because you know what, Covino, they're not Currys, they're not Griffeys, they're not Alomars, they're not no one's really hurt. I mean, I know Aaron Nola because I'm a Mets fan, and the Phillies, he's been on their squad for a while. But Aaron and Austin Nola, how cool that dad's got to be. How stoked are you? You got both jerseys on your.
It's the dream, man. It's the fucking dream. We talked about it with that Andrew Velasquez Yankee story. It's the dream. That guy's living it. He's got two sons in the big leagues. It doesn't get cooler than that. Speaking of other things that
because think of how many people brag about their kids' sports prowess when they were younger. Like, oh, my kid's pretty good. This guy said that, and he was right.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of sports stories that we missed, Miguel Cabrera hit his 500th home run. Gotta tip your hat to that. 500 home runs nowadays.
I don't wear one.
Who's next? Maybe Nelson Cruz. I don't know. Not too many people are gonna reach this milestone. Maybe Giancarlo Stanton, guys like that, but still, 500 is still the landmark. Miguel Cabrera is one of those good guys, and I think he's the first Detroit Tiger to ever do it. For a legendary franchise like Detroit, That's pretty shocking. I could be wrong on that, but I'm almost positive.
There was a.
I don't know. I think I heard that.
Now I have a question. Do you count it if a guy spent most of his career there? You're saying hit his 500th as a Tiger.
As a Tiger.
Yeah, you know what I always thought was cheap, and I'll take it. But I was at the game actually when Gary Sheffield hit his 500th, but as a Met, and I'm like, yeah, Sheffield wasn't a Met, but it was like a fun moment. But like, what a lame 500. It's like, yeah, you played on the team for like a year.
To be honest, it's funny you bring him up because I think a guy that doesn't get enough credit. Speaking of John Ritter earlier, Gary Sheffield is a fucking badass dude. I don't think he's brought up in enough conversation.
He was fun to root for, but Covino. But do you ever think of him even as a Met 1 second?
I think of him as a Yankee. I do.
Yeah.
And of course, I acknowledge, that he played for other teams. I don't think he was a Yankee, but he's very much a Yankee to me. It's like I had this conversation recently because Ricky Henderson was, in the news, stolen bases or something like that, anniversary of it or whatever. And I brought up some stat that his record will never be broken, but I posted a picture of him as a Yankee because I think of Ricky Henderson as a Yankee.
Nah, he's a fucking A.
I know he's an Oakland Athletic. He played 17 years, I think. 14 or 17 years with the Oakland Athletics. But he played 5 years of my childhood on the Yankees. So I acknowledge he played for other teams. And I acknowledge that I acknowledge he's an Oakland A. Yeah. But he was very well a Yankee to me. So same thing with Gary Sheffield.
I look at it this way. He played 2 years as a Met, Ricky Henderson. Do you even think of him as a New York Met?
No, but I think of Henderson, secondary very much as a New York Yankee. Of course he's an Oakland A. He won a World Series with the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Played 17. He was like back and forth 3 different times, I believe, with the Oakland A's. But my point was, even though Sheffield was a Tiger, Mr. Tiger, like you, Rich.
Yeah.
I still think of him as a Yankee. Now, in other news, Mike Durband wanted me to bring this up, so I'll bring it up. Why not? Mike Durband said, hey, you guys, how did you not bring this up? He says, you got to bring up the epic return this weekend of CM Punk. CM Punk returned to wrestling after a 7-year absence this past weekend at a sold-out United Center in Chicago on AEW Rampage, The First Dance. Now, CM Punk, last we saw was he did not make it in the Octagon. So
yeah, that's right.
He's back at it there. I'm not going to discuss it, but I will acknowledge that it was big, I guess, for a lot of people. So there you go. Mike Durband, CM
and
Punk.
SummerSlam was a big deal too. So I don't know if that overshadowed CM Punk.
Probably, yeah. I saw a lot of people talking about SummerSlam this weekend. We didn't get to it yesterday, obviously, but have to acknowledge it. And as far as just randomness, that's pretty much the rando news.
I got a couple other takes here. I saw a story that I don't know if it's true. It could be a bullshit one, but there's a story about some guy that he had a little farewell at work. So he decided to put laxatives in treats he brought in for everyone. Is
that real?
And whether it's real or not, it made me think would you ever go to that extent? Is that just the lowest low class move? Or have you worked at a place you've hated so much that you actually would bring in treats that would make everyone shit their pants?
I've never put anything in your coffee before. I'm sorry, what was the question?
The laxatives.
Oh, right. It's very spiteful. Takes an immense amount of spite.
Yeah, I think you could get in a lot of trouble for that.
Not for the weak.
No, I think you can get arrested for that, can't you?
Yeah, you probably could get arrested. I bet you that guy could be charged if it's a real story. But I just think it's people love to say I would love to take a shit on my boss's desk. But does anyone do that? Does anyone say, yeah, I'm going to put laxatives in this person's cupcakes or drinks?
Honestly, man, those are things I say in fun. I always had this fantasy
I always wanted to do the thing from Wedding Crashers.
No, I always wanted to
squirt.
do. You remember? You got to pull the scene up because it's so funny when
Wedding
Adam
Crashers?
Sandler and Click, he farts in David Hasselhoff's face. He's like, yeah. I always had this fantasy that I was going to do something like that, but shit on one of these sales guys' desks at the radio station I worked at because he was just such a grumpy dickhead and never appreciated anything I did for him. And I probably made the guy millions of dollars. And, you know, I was like, my last day, I'm going to take a fucking mean, steamy shit right on his desk. And, of course, those are things you say in fun and fantasy, but I would never do it.
Yeah.
Like, to do that to somebody, to do that to people, you got to be a real piece of shit, honestly.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is one of, like, this was my fantasy. Would I ever
Hang out
do
with
it?
your friend Jenny
No.
this weekend.
I hope she's doing your brother right now, you big-headed buffoon.
No. You got more.
Sandman.
Yeah.
Yo, I bet you the Sandman would have casted
Anyway, the
John
sooner you
Ritter in a movie.
get back to work, the sooner you'll be partnerized. I taste shit. You do? Stacy, did you put shit in my lunch? Oh.
I'm gonna get going now, sir.
Oh,
It's an underrated scene. I love it.
Click. Great
There you
movie.
go.
You put shit in my
That's
coffee
great.
lunch.
So I don't know if that's a real or fake story, Rich, but again, it's like fun. It's
Yeah.
like this guy lived out some shit you just say. I don't think that's something that you really do. I have a question for you. I don't know if this goes anywhere. It's part of the rando news, but it's more of a question that I wanted to pose. And I only bring it up because it's like I imagine it's pressure that a lot of people feel, but that I never felt. So I don't really have much to elaborate on, right? And that's the pressure to follow in your family's footsteps. Now, if you're from a long line of successful
Buxton
people with mansions,
you know, like in all the History Channel documentaries we watch, if you're from a long line of like chocolatiers, would that be the term?
Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
You know, you're sort of expected to run the family business when you're next in line in generation. They've already established all this for you, right? They set up the whole sort of process for you. Like, hey, all you got to do is take it over. We see a lot of Adam Sandler movies about that. You know, following in he's taking over the family company. I mean, this shit never really related to me. But I saw this tweet and it made me think of it. Yesterday, I follow Wolfgang Van Halen. Wolfie, who you probably don't give a diddly fuck about, but his dad just died. Eddie Van Halen, the legend. And he's finally gotten the greatest opportunity of all. You have to imagine, he lives in his dad's shadow, right? He's a rock star, but guess what? He's not Eddie Van Halen. He was in Van Halen. He played bass with his dad. He played all Michael Anthony's parts on tour and with the band for years.
Yeah,
when
but
he
who's
was
going to take over Covino Logistics when I kick the bucket?
right.
I got the van ready to go.
Right. I used
Yeah.
to. By the way, you know, it's funny when you think about it, because
Kiss
when you're a
off.
little kid, I remember being a little kid thinking, I'm either going to play for the Yankees or I guess I could like fill up soda machines like my dad does. You know, you didn't know what you were going to do.
Yeah,
Right?
you got to have pride in what you do.
Right.
They wouldn't have chocolate cow if it wasn't for me.
Chocolate cow for sure.
Even though I call it Yoo-hoo.
Yeah. Hey, Dad, can I get some Lauren of the Dunes in the back?
Nah. How about some Famous Amos?
Hey, Dad, you got any Wrigley's? Nah, Beach Nut.
Nah, Beach Nut. What do you want?
Beach Nut.
Stop eating my profits.
Yeah. Oh, he would always say that. You're eating the profits.
Eating the profits.
I swear to God, he would say that all the time.
Beat it, kid.
Dad,
Go.
can I have a payday? Eating
Nah.
the profits.
Go hang with your mother.
So I remember
hey, Ted,
having
get this kid off my back.
I remember having these thoughts, but never the pressures, right? So Wolfgang Van Halen responded to a tweet, and I feel like he does this a lot, and he probably shouldn't. But I noticed this a lot. Like, he gets a lot of harassment because his dad is Eddie Van Halen. For the record, Wolfgang Van Halen now heads up his own band, and they have a really popular song called The Distance, a really good song. I believe it's called The Distance. And it's a tribute to his dad and everything. But his band Mammoth is opening up for Guns N' Roses this summer, and it's a huge opportunity for that band because people come out in droves for Guns N' Roses. So Mammoth is opening up for Guns N' Roses. So he's very much doing his own thing. But people hit him up constantly with what seems to be just a small request, but people don't think before they tweet or talk. And this guy goes, Wolfie, I really like your stuff. I just think it's time to honor Dad. And the time to honor your dad is now. You've already shown you could stand on your own. Now, it doesn't seem like that abrasive of a comment, does it? Not really. But
not really.
Wolfgang Van Halen responds, and he goes, probably like, listen, jerk off, but it's blacked out. He says, I honor my dad by existing and doing what I do every day. I'm not fucking playing Panama just for you guys. So
I love that.
Do you? Because
I love that response. That's great. I thought that you actually got me interested in the story now. I think that's great. He's like, fuck you.
Right.
It's my dad. It's my dad. I'm not playing. But he's like, I honor my dad. And he's probably thinking he paid all his respects, loves his dad more than any other idiot. And he's like, I'm not playing.
This kid, by the way, like really loved his dad. Like they had like one of those beautiful father-son.
Yeah.
Like admired
So you
his
think,
dad.
so in his mind, he's like, yo, I'm not playing some fucking song to make you happy. I love it.
But it dawned on me the amount of pressure. And the guy probably wasn't looking for some sort of sassy response. He was just like, you know, probably saying what a lot of people want, which is for you to play some Van Halen shit. And he's like, yo, fuck that. I don't do that. I'm not doing that. But what dawned on me was the pressures that certain people must have, especially people like that, to follow in their father's footsteps.
It's not even that. I don't even think it's that. Like I think it's an emotional trigger. It's like, you know, he obviously misses his father.
Yeah,
and you're like, yeah, play like your dad. It's like, I lost my dad, dude. It's like,
yeah, I didn't even think
why
of
you
that.
gotta rub that in my, you know, it's like you're almost like rubbing that in his face.
Yeah,
like,
you're
my dad,
you know? Hey, you want me to do something that's excruciating and tough for me to do, which is play like all my dad's music? Yeah. You fucking do.
I mean, some people lean into it, like Frank Sinatra Jr. Isn't his whole world based on his dad?
But then you're never your own guy either.
Yeah,
right?
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, just it was like a story that sort of stood out, but because I couldn't really relate to it, I didn't have anything. But I imagine there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, I want to do my own thing, you know, and I know that there's a lot of pressure for me to follow in my dad's footsteps or honor him in this way, but I'm my own guy. And that's sort of what he's doing. He's like, yeah, I got my own songs, and I honored him by playing like with his band for all those years and shit. Like, yeah, I'm good. So again, he says, I honor my dad by existing and doing what I do every day. I'm not fucking playing Panama for you guys.
I love how he chose Panama though.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's like a best punchline.
And he posted this because he's really trying to make the point, because he probably deals with it all the time.
Yeah.
And his caption was, y'all ain't ever going to fucking stop, are you? Like, they won't let this kid just be himself.
Yeah.
They're
Live
like,
your life.
Yeah. And
It's to me, it's a constant reminder of the loss.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that spot.
Like,
True.
you know.
Yeah, but you know what's also a spot? It's also a reminder of like some people live. It's also a reminder of some people that live in the past. Like no matter what you do, if you're in the entertainment world, TV, radio, podcasting, any music, there's people that have a hard on for your early stuff or stuff when you were like a different person, and they like. There's hosts that people still love to talk about their old stuff and hate everything new. There's people that love musicians, but they're like, yeah, they're old stuff, and it's like, you know, people evolve and people change. Some people just love to live in the past. And he's like, yo, I'm a musician of my own. My dad was a legend. Really? You think it's my best move to go up there and fucking play random songs my dad made famous?
Here's the thing. And there's people, droves, I'll use that word again, of people that, yes, they think that. That's what's crazy about it. And Spots really hit the nail on the head. Because we look at it like, yo, man, your dad was a legend. Fuck yeah, play some Unchained, man. And he's like, yo, I know he's like a legend, dude, but he was my dad.
And
it kills me inside.
And a lot of times people will pick and choose when they decide to honor their parents. Like, Look at James Gandolfini's son. He's going to be in that movie. And that's like almost a tribute to his dad who he lost.
It's not your job to tell me when I need to honor my dad.
Glenn Fry's son was part of the Eagles for a while. He was touring with the Eagles to take the place of his dad, as kind of a tribute. I don't think he was singing, but he's a musician. So he was like, I choose to honor my parent in a certain way. This guy, maybe it might be very tough for him, and he wants to do his own thing, and that's how he chooses to honor his father. He might say, like my father, like you always say, the greatest guitar solo of all time is Eruption?
Oh, yeah, Eruption.
Eruption. He might say, like, I'm never going to be able to play it as good as my father. Let that live on. I'm doing my own shit.
Yeah. But it's shit that certain people have to deal with. Not just celebrities, regular people. And speaking of, to tie it back to the conversation earlier, Jason Ritter pays tribute to his dad tomorrow night on ABC, John Ritter.
Yeah, you don't think people
who followed in his footsteps as an actor, but he's like, I'm not going to be my dad type of actor. I'm going to do my own thing. So that's in the news. And hey, speaking of old school musical acts, something we didn't acknowledge, and someone you might not know, Rich, but Don Everly passed away over the weekend.
Everly Brothers?
of the Everly Brothers, who had huge influence on so many bands that we grew up loving, from like probably the Beach Boys to the Bee Gees to the Beatles, with their harmonies and their rock and their way about themselves and their music. But the older Everly brother passed away over the weekend. Just throwing that out there because I'm sure you grew up hearing your parents maybe play those.
Of course. I hear them all the time on the Oldies channel.
Yeah, so that's your rando news of your Tuesday.
I have one thought
one last thing. The fight this weekend. Enjoy that shit. If we don't see you, because we're not going to do any official show moving forward, but we will do some other stuff.
What?
Jake Paul, Woodley, this coming weekend. Enjoy that shit.
You made it sound like this is our last show.
Yeah.
Of the
You're
week.
like, we're not doing any official show moving forward.
Of the week.
Of the week.
I know. Just make it clear. You know how people get.
I wanted to end on not a controversial note, but a legitimate question.
G sharp. Very controversial.
B flat.
B flat. Is it an A sharp or a B flat? A very controversial note.
If you hit the wrong note, we'll all be flat.
Yeah. An A sharp is a B flat, correct?
Yeah. A sharp is a B flat. Same note.
Very controversial. What do you call it?
Which is the error in that movie, right?
Yeah.
So you look on social media, right? And when it comes to the vid and vaccines, Pfizer now officially FDA approved. Maybe some people were waiting for that. I don't know. But if I see one more person post a comparison, like making it seem like something like terrible, like Nazi Germany is like what's starting to happen here, I think I just have to be like, yo, dude, I don't even know if I could be social media friends with you. Later to you. Like, do you really think that like there's some big takeover happening? Like, are there people that really?
Why don't you hit him with the NCD, bro? Can do.
It all starts with government control.
Yeah, but are there people that like? Do people realize how insane they sound when they compare like, a medical situation, a global pandemic where there was a virus and people trying to get it under control, and they're comparing it to like ridiculous things like Nazi Germany. Like, this is how it all starts. And it's like, do people really think that? Really?
I mean, people
I say no can do.
People really think it's in Wolfgang Van Halen's best interest to play Panama.
Well, that's what made me think of it, because you said people. Yeah, there's some people. I think there's some people. There's people that think stupid things across the board, but that to me is like, do you really think that your local officials leading all the way up to the president and international, because the virus isn't just in the United States. I think people forget that sometimes because they're like, it's all about the U.S. control. I'm like, yeah, do you mean like the world is all doing the same thing? So you're trying to tell me that the world, this is one big beginning to like the current day Nazi Germany? Like, to me, when I hear people say stuff like that,
I'm hearing whispers and rumblings of other variants too, which is getting scary. It's like, fuck.
Well, it's going to keep getting different variants if it doesn't stop. That's the whole thing. Variants. What's the next one?
I think it's like COVID-22 or something like that. I'm serious. Look it up. I forget.
But my point is like, no, like who was it? I think, and I usually don't agree with him because I think he's a little too eye-rollingly liberal. But Seth Meyers even said something recently, like someone that thinks wearing a mask at Target to get toilet paper, if you're going to compare that to like some horrific time throughout history, like I can't really see eye to eye with you on much.
I don't.
Like if someone asking you to, can you find Seth Meyers quote? Because usually I think he's, like I said, sometimes I think he's a smidge too liberal for my liking, but
a smidge.
I mean, maybe more than a smidge. Seth Meyers is a little too, maybe a way too much like woke liberalish, but I thought this quote was pretty solid.
Hey, I have a question, and I'm not trying to sound like rude or anything. He still does a show or no?
Yes.
He does?
Yeah, every night.
Wow. I had no clue. I'm being serious. I like Seth Meyers. He's a nice guy. I didn't know that.
But long story short is that to me, nothing rubs me the wrong way more. And because I get people disagree with politics and policy and this and that. And I get it. People have different opinions. And I'm not even talking about different opinions on like, I'm not even talking about difference of opinions on vaccines. I'm talking about the person that thinks, the person, Covino, that thinks that this is some big plot of a takeover. I'm like, yo, is that person like thinking clearly even a little?
No. The only takeover I care about is Teofimo Lopez, bro. The takeover.
Yeah, that's your dude. I know.
I want him to take over all of boxing. It's my guy.
So big.
And me in the rock department at Sirius XM. The takeover.
The takeover.
No, seriously, yeah. People are fucking wackadoodles, man. And it's stressing me out because we're dealing with them more than ever before. Like, I can't say anything. Everything I say gets picked apart. It's
again, Covino, I usually am not a big Seth Meyers guy, but I thought this was great. Sometimes when you disagree with someone, you can at least understand their point of view. But I just can't access the frame of mind of a person who thinks wearing a piece of cloth over your face while shopping for toilet paper at Costco is some type of, quote, give me liberty or give me death moment. Like, I'm with him on that. I could agree with him on that. Like, the people that think there's some bigger power, control, takeover, like, or like, aren't we all just trying to stop this? It's not good for anyone if this just keeps going.
I'm seeing the feedback here. 412-267-7469. You could also call. Rich, I see people comparing getting, quote unquote, the jab to being raped.
Yeah, it's like
people are just ridiculous. People, and I'm so sick of it, man, that it's got me stressed out. Like, I'm sick of dealing with everybody, to be honest. You know that mansion your dad was speaking of in the middle of nowhere? It sounds really good to me.
Man,
right?
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, you mean like
Let's
I could
just
dip
do it.
away?
Let's do it.
And like, yeah, like,
Let's
oh, wait,
do it.
You mean like I could escape into like a different wing of the house and just be left
Yeah,
alone and
it's
like
just-
be living in the middle of nowhere? That sounds fucking awesome. But then you're still subjected to everyone's shitty opinions on social media. You know, and you think like, really? Like, there's this many fucking
bird brains?
Like, it's just annoying people, man.
Yeah, but they think you're bird. They think you're bird brain, which is crazy. So like, I don't know.
Fine. I mean, that's fine, but I'm not posting about it. I'm not, you know.
Covino, let's just go to the mansion.
Well,
we gotta go to the mansion.
Guess what? If I didn't do a radio show,
The
I would be
mansion.
living my life. You wouldn't know how I feel about these things. I'd be minding my business, doing my best to be a good person and living my life. I wouldn't be
worst thing
posting fucking weird things on the internet. I just wouldn't be.
It's the worst thing I ever figured out.
All right. Well, hey guys, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy.
Before you go,
I don't like that note. You got another note to end it on?
I was gonna say. So we're not doing shows, but we'll plan some behind the velvet ropes. Rich, I don't know what you're doing, but I know you're trying to live life.
I think tonight or tomorrow morning. I'm guessing tonight. My dad wants to do we're going to do a behind the velvet rope. He wants to give everyone a tour of his
So we'll do that.
His basement bar where he has his pool table and where he chills and where the ping pong table was, and we'll have a little funny behind the velvet rope tonight with my dad.
Your dad has like all these like old school vacationy things too, right? Like you lift the barrel and the guy's like his Hawaiian dick pops out and shit like that.
Oh yeah, he has all these little knickknacks and shit, and he has all. He has all. You know what he has also?
Out.
He has all his like ping pong trophies and bowling awards and old school like Mets and Yankees shits.
Yeah. Wait till you see the basement.
I have a hula girl and her titties come out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, pretty much.
Can I do your mouth? Hold on.
Oh, no, I don't want to do it.
Come on.
I like when you do it.
Come on. No, I want it to be your mouth.
Bob Dole! Woohoo! Conan O'Brien! 2000! Woohoo! Oh, wait till you see my hula girl. I bought this in Hawaii, 1992. If you turn it upside down, her boobies come out. Woohoo! Conan!
It's so much better with you. Oh, it's going to be you from now on.
I don't want to do it.
Oh, no, it's going to be you from now on.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, so we'll do some behind the velvet rope content. I want to do a behind the scenes video of everything. We'll do that at some point before it all leaves my house and I have to set it up again later this week.
Yeah, when are we heading into the new studio?
That's a good question. Here's a tricky thing. So I was hoping that the new studio would fall on a Monday, but you're coming back on Monday, and that means that I might have to like set all this up on like a midweek night, and that's going to be a pain in the ass. But we'll figure it out.
No, it's not different than a regular night, is it?
There's just a lot that needs to be done and tested.
No, but what I'm saying is like every night's going to be...
No, because if I had a weekend, I would have like a whole day to just like sit and do shit. And then like come back the next day and test it and make sure everything was good. And then we could go live. But that's okay. We'll figure that out.
Well, whatever you want to do.
I'm going to make some candles this week. I'll cook. I don't know, Covino, maybe you'll rage at some point this week. So there will be content. Don't think that we're completely disappearing for the rest of the week, even though we do need some time.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll be doing some stuff. So stay tuned for
Tier 1.
Behind the Velvet Rope. And
might be time to upgrade.
Follow us at Covino and Rich. Remember, shop.covinoandrich.com. We have some new merch available and new merch coming soon. So catch the merchandise at covinoandrich.com. But the show, it never really ends. So be sure to hit us up at Covino and Rich, at Steve Covino, at Rich Davis, at Spot Center. And thank you guys for hanging out with us all week. And Rich, enjoy the rest of your week. And,
thanks, bud. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Arrivederci, baby.
See you in the promised land.
Goodbye.
Bye.